I am here.
Recording turned on. This is a part 2 of a clinic that a runner named Ednolium started for ABNMG. This VOD will go over higher level strats and also will point out consistent strats that people who aren't quite comfortable with going to, frame saves and stuff like that could just use with enough practice. The point of this VOD is not to show you exactly what to do everywhere. You can pick what you want to add to your gameplay, and you can always reference this VOD for basically supplement to your practice. That's pretty much it. I do have 2 people listening with me right now. This is being done live on the Metroid Dread speedrunning Discord. We have Manager and Chaff. Chaff is currently doing yard work or something, and Manny is here and will be running alongside. You guys will not be able to see his side of the game, but that doesn't matter. At the bottom right of the screen, you'll see the input display. This is here. All the buttons work. You can see exactly what I'm doing. And if you ever have any questions regarding how do you do this, how do you do that, the answer is almost always do it correctly. So the point of this video is to show you what to do, not how to do it. Unless I specifically mention that there is a gimmick or a nuance to some form of movement or some sort of trick that's being done, some sort of boss fight, the answer is genuinely always just do it. And because of that, you can usually boil this game down to a checkbox of mechanics that you have to, like mechanic skill checks you have to pass. With enough practice, you can pass it all the time, and then you're a top runner. Congratulations. So we're gonna get started here with leaving QR into Dairen. Right now, our next destination would be to Berenia 2 for the purposes of getting Dragaiga dead for the all bosses requirement and going to Gavarin. There's already a huge route that you have to take to get to the correct elevator, which is this one. You're basically just going back to the same way you would be going to Flash Shift, but you go up instead of left when you get into Berenia. When you leave this pad right away, you're going to basically shoot the door, flash twice, then shoot this door open like this. That's basically what you want to do, and there's a very good reason for this. So once again, shoot the door, flash twice, and then respin, pivot left, and shoot the door open. I like to use a charge shot to open this door in case I miss, and it also just makes it foolproof. You'll notice there that it took only the bottom prong of the wide beam shot, but if you use a charge shot, even if you badly miss the door, the diffusion shots will get your back. Once you open this door with that charge shot, right, and you land, you're going to re-hold Y. This is very important, because when you flash through into the next room, you already have your charge shot charged up for this wide beam block. And then you'd release the wide beam shot and push the block. So in motion, it looks like this. This is the best way to go through this as far as I understand. So, I mean, the wide beam block's obviously pushed, but once again, 1, 2, shoot, flash, shoot. You can see the speed at which I repress the Y button on the input display. And I like to give a delay after the flash shift so that Samus can return to neutral position. If you guys know from dealing with these things at all, they're very, very finicky. But the worst thing you can do is shoot it too early, especially during your flash shift, and you might be slightly too low for the wide beam block to push. If you do end up missing it, do a turnaround quick charge. Usually works. If it doesn't, go next. Your run is cursed. So one more time. Just like that. Once you're done with this part, you're going to slide off, and then you're going to want to delay a flash shift, like so. That way you can clear the next platform here, and then do a pivot respin to clear this one. Once again, 1, 2. Well, if you do it too early, you hit the slope ceiling. This is why you want to do it appreciably late. If you do it too early, it happens. Try not to, so you can clear this like this. One more time. 1, 2, pivot respin, just like that. Now here, I like to hold the charge once again because of this guy. So you can just get rid of it with a charge shot to the ground once you pass over it. That's what I like to do. If it doesn't work, so be it, but there you can see that it worked. Right? And then once you get through, I'm gonna flash twice. Now, the reason why I want to kill this guy on the ground is because he might interrupt your flash shifts. So when you hold that charge shot, you get rid of him, and then you can start flashing and be unimpeded all the way through. Once you land and do those flash shifts, you're likely to be in the air right here. You're going to respin immediately, and then do another flash shift with the flash chain so that you can get down here. Once you are, you'd morph down just like this, because morphing has a faster fall rate. And from here on, we're going to do a speed keep, which you may notice it goes from here all the way to here, skips through these, and then comes down and bounces off this wall right here. It's hard to see, but that's what's going on. And to assist with this matter, I have a high-tech device called Microsoft Paint. So, for the upcoming speed keep, let me get rid of these guys. For the upcoming speed keep, we're going to look to jump at a visual cue around here or so. So the cue happens to be... Let me see if this is working. Is my thing working? It is working, great. So the visual cue happens to be anywhere right here or so is where you would jump. Now, it is going to be difficult to see where to jump because the speed booster camera is going to be going crazy. But with enough practice, again, this is all about practice, you're going to be able to nail this just fine. And once you get to this portion of the speed keep, you're going to do a full jump. So we're going to go do that right now. Start the speed. Tap jump, visual cue, full jump. And you'll notice I make it through. If you do this too late, what ends up happening is you'll land on this. And this is terrible because of the skidding animation and the fact that you don't clear it at all. If you do it too early, as you'll see here, you land on this one. Now this one's not as bad because, you know, you have a straight path left. Here you have to pivot and do all this weird nonsense and it gets annoying. If you don't want to do this speed keep, which I honestly am not sure why, it's not terribly bad. You can, from here, you can do some air flashes. Oh, I'm not used to doing this, honestly. You can do some air flashes and cut through this way. I suppose this is fine. And then because of this, you would grapple here instead of walking and then move on. But because we're cool and we do speed keeps, we'll show you what the full speed keep looks like now. Here again, I like to hold a charge, bounce off this. We're gonna do a tap jump. Now the reason why we do a tap jump here is because we don't want to go too high and go here instead. And also you'll notice on the input display, if you rewind, when I do this tap jump, I have stick neutral. And the reason why I do this is because I don't want to grab this ledge. So until I go under and past this ledge vertically, I'm not holding any direction. But once I do, I switch to holding right so I can start running on the floor. Once again. And now you might be thinking, why don't you do the same over here and tap jump your way through this? Now the reason why I don't do that is because it's faster to, again, charge shot the mine that's here and then do flashes. Flash shifting is instantaneously faster than speed boosting, unless you have to do 5 ground flashes in a row. Then speeding is faster. I believe that's correct. So in this case, to show the entire keep from start to finish, I went too early there. There you go. See, you gotta practice. Just like that. Now, obviously, you would shoot the thing on the ground first. If it makes you feel more comfortable, you would want to land first, then shoot it, and then flash. That's fine, too. Once you're done with that, you're going to do a slide morph off of this ledge. And then you're going to do your best to pivot between these platforms such that you don't get caught on one of them. And now the way to do this is... Let me get down here. The way you'd want to do this is... Your movement, ideally... Let me find my pen. Ideally, you would morph off the ledge like this. And then here's your ball. And then you would want to move such that you just clip under this ledge right, this reverse ledge right here, or this corner. If you do this, then and only then will your trajectory clear this one. Now, if you get caught on the ledge, let's say you move like, I don't know, let's say you did this and you clipped the ledge, you're going to land here. Let's say you go too far and then you don't just clip this, just clear this ledge, you're going to land here again. So with enough practice, and I'm not too good at this, but just like that, you can clear the both platforms. If you clip this ledge here, right, like so, you're going to land. If you go too far, you're going to land. There's a sweet spot here where you can just get through. Now, if you only just barely touch the corner and land, that's fine, right? It's as close as you'll get without actually getting it. But ideally, you would want to just clip that top ledge. Just barely. And you'll be able to get through without any troubles. Like so. From this point forward, once you get past that portion, we'll just get in full motion here. You're gonna unmorph and immediately slide, morph, jump into this tunnel. Not too hard. Once you land here, you're going to unmorph here, and this is important because once you unmorph, you're going to slide through this and do a coyote, and then try to do any sort of flash chain to get up and over this guy. Now, you have to be as close to the top of the ceiling as possible in order to get the best flash chain, which is this one. So this is going to take a lot of weird and annoying practice because that enemy is not going to be in the same spot every time. If you want to bring him back, you can go sufficiently far, 2 rooms away, and then he should come back. I lied. You'd have to go a lot farther. And the reason why you really do want this enemy to be here is because if you flash too low, the enemy will stop your forward flash shift. If you flash too high, this happens and you feel miserable. So it would be nice to have the enemy always here. But you can also check based on how close your head is to the ceiling as well. So there I was too early. And this is genuinely difficult. But ideally, this is what it would look like. Once you get past those flash chains, you're going to flash twice into the next room. And then from here, the movement before you get flash is like this, right? Where you full grab this, then you do a full jump this way and you move on. That way you don't have to do any ledge hops. But once you have flash, it's different. You're going to grab the ledge, do a full ledge hop there, and then flash 3 times into the room. This movement changes once you get flash. You want to wait on your flashes until your head hits the ceiling. Then 1, 2, 3, melee, and then pivot. From this point on, you slide under, flash twice or once, depending, and then do whatever hole-in-one setup you have. And here, I like to just mash through him. If he dies, so be it. If he doesn't die, oh well. And then we move on to Berenia. Manny, feel free to ask questions in the moment if you need to. It's fine.
I have no questions. I've been following along. It makes a lot of sense.
Great.
So no questions right now.
Good. Alright, moving on to Berenia. We're just gonna spam flash to the next destination. It takes 5 flashes in total to clear. If your flashes are too slow, it'll take 4 like I just did. Ideally, it wouldn't be slow because you want maximum movement, like this. And then you morph immediately, and once you land from the morph, you're going to drop bombs to get rid of this guy. Now you have a choice. If you want to go, this is the first time we have a true frame save over the alternative, which is consistent. So from this point forward, what you'd want to do is slide through this. Now, this is the consistent one first. You're going to slide through this, jump down here, and then just move on like normal. This is fine. But here, you'd have to start the speed keep all the way up to Berenia 2, right? Now, there is a way to get the speed keep without going the bottom route, and that's by going the top route. It is hard, but it is possible, and it's a slightly RNG, but it's not that bad. So here, you'd want to immediately land from this, and then start your speed. Hold the diffusion shot, jump over this E part, and then do a slide off morph shot. Like so. The inconsistency here, which might turn people off, is that you might not actually open the door with this, like this, or you might miss your speed movement. That happens sometimes, and you'll see if the runners are doing it in a run, for example, you'll see them get kind of tilted sometimes, and then they'll have to back up and restart again. That's where the time loss and time save gamble is. And now, if you want to know how much this saves, from what I timed, it saves less than half a second. But it makes you feel really cool. So, if you do land this, that's a confidence boost. But if you don't care, because it loses you around a second or so, if you do mess it up, if you don't care, then just go the bottom route, it's completely fine. If you are running a category that does not have grapple the first time you go to Berenia 1, then this is much slower, even if you mess up the top path. But since we're an ABNMG, you can take the bottom path and it's completely fine. Now for the speed keep, what I like to do is do a tap jump or a tap wall jump on this wall. Land first. Whoop, my bad. Let me just take a hit here. I like to land first. And then I like to jump morph, but I like to slightly rub on the corner of this ledge if possible, because then the game's leniency system on any speed keep will just let you run through. There are times you may notice when you try to go for the speed keep where you'll land in this tunnel and lose your speed, and then you lose like 5 seconds. Because why not? If you rub this ledge first, that becomes a lot more consistent. There are also times where you'll cleanly get through and you'll cleanly speed in, which did happen the first time I showed this in this VOD. And if that happens, great. But if it doesn't happen, you know, then it's whatever. Ideally, you would have your practice such that you can get through this every single time while maintaining speed, and that's what you want. It saves so much time over just rolling through that long tunnel. You'll see that ledge bump there that I did. So let's go back and show the entire chain once again. And obviously, don't get the E part. Unless you're running Hundo. And from here, you can make a choice. So what I like to do is, I actually like to end my speed keep once I get through this, and then just move on and do different movement. Now, I don't actually know how to do the full link. You can reference Ednolium for this. Join the Dread Discord and ask him about it, and you'll get it just fine. There are also other runners who have done this speed keep. We like to call it the True One Link, or whatever it's called. I have no idea what it's called, honestly. We just call it the full Berenia 2 speed keep, if anything. I will show you the movement going forward without having to do the whole speed keep. Let me just get rid of this guy. No, don't kill me. So, once you end your speed keep here, you're going to do a ledge to ledge, like that. And then here, you're going to shoot the door open, but also flash into it intentionally. This sets up spacing for later. 1, 2, 3. And then once you enter this room, you have that flash shift just coming up, such that you can flash towards this ledge and buffer a B input. That way you ledge hop immediately. So let's show that again. Like that. And then you'll do it again here. And this lets you get through both of these hedgehog enemies. Once again. Right? Obviously that door's gonna be open. Like so. And then you'll land immediately and open this. Once this is done, you're going to do a 1 flash into a jump 2 flash. Another flash chain to get through this as fast as you can. And then here, what I like to do to get around this guy with my flashes, and it is a little difficult, and sometimes it doesn't work, but it works enough in my subjective experience. I like to do a flash immediately, and then do a slight respin. You'll see on the input display that I tap B, and then flash again. That respin moves you ever so slightly forward before your second flash to where the ceiling enemy does not hit you with the laser beam. Sometimes it doesn't work because of a timing issue or just something mechanical. It's fine. It might also have to do with room load. Who knows? But if that happens, you can land immediately by using another respin to cancel your flash's ending lag in the air, right? There's a difference between this and this, right? And then once you land, immediately grapple the door and open it, then flash twice once again. I did a melee by accident because I'm really smart and I'm a good teacher. Alright. Let's do that again. And I like to hold the charge here as well to kill this guy up here. He might be annoying. Once you land, you're going to flash once, then slide into this enemy and cancel the knockback on the slide damage animation with another flash. You can only cancel knockback animations if you slide into an enemy first, then you can flash like that. That is the only way you can do it. I'm gonna kill him real quick just to get some healing and then back up all the way so he comes back. Brings back the ceiling enemy too. Why not? Ow. Let's just back up all the way. Might as well get a heal from you as well. Okay. Or just don't. Good. Oh, or just don't. There you go. Alright. Like that. That is the entire sequence. Now, from this point forward, when you're going up, ideally, you wouldn't be running ABNMG, so you don't have to fight the worst boss in the game, and you can do these pseudos. But because we have to fight Drug, we're going to end up doing another speed keep to get up and over this area. I'm going to get rid of all these enemies. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing it, you know, because I'm going to be here for a while, probably. Once you land up here, you're going to immediately speed and slide through, and then you're going to manually unmorph if you can. Alright, I'm not sure if it'll unmorph you automatically, but I like to do it manually. Alright, just because. But when you get to the other end, you can do one of two things. Ow. Come on, man. You never see that ever. And here, I like to do a 1, 2, 3, and then cancel my storing animation by hitting this enemy on purpose. Then I'll get to this spot right here on the floor. You can see it with the red lines. And then do an up spark. And then flash. Like this. Now, you might notice there that I was facing backwards when I started my flashes. If you're facing backwards, if and only if, you can start spamming flash to the right and you'll clear this little lip. If you're flashing forwards, you're gonna have to do something else. You're gonna have to do this. Whoops. It's a little hard. Nope. But you get the point. You'd have to jump off the slope and then do another flash to get back up. That is if and only if you're facing forwards on those flashes. The reason why facing backwards and facing forwards is different is because if you're facing backwards, it means you're flashing as soon as you get out of your spark bonk. So the game doesn't even have a chance to turn you around. If you're facing forward, you've lost just enough height to where a triple flash will no longer cover that small corner. So you have to adjust by doing a jump flash into a flash chain, basically. If none of that works and you're a little stuck, you can just try to grapple one of these two and then recover that way. Either way, it's still faster than going up normally for the most part. Let's get rid of this guy again. Show the entire thing. It does auto unmorph you. Good. Oops. I'm a little good at this game, trust. Let's see if he respawns here. That'd be annoying. Ah, you fucker. Yep, see? So there, I was facing forwards instead of backwards, so I had to recover it. You can delay it just enough with a full jump off of this slope so that you can get your Aeon back and flash over. Now again, if you're facing backwards in the air, spam flashes to the right as fast as you can and you'll clear this ledge every time. I'm not going to go back and show it because it's a long time. All right, open this. I like to just walk through this door and not flash so that I can instantly grapple this. Sometimes when you flash into a grapple point and grapple, it just doesn't work. So for consistency's sake, I like to just walk through this door instead. It also allows you, from this point, to do a slide morph into this tunnel, as opposed to having to mantle manually into the tunnel, which is cool. Once you land from this, unmorph, slide through, and now you're at Drog. For the Drog fight, you're going to already be pre-aimed at the top tentacle once you're skipping the cutscene, and then shoot, I believe it's 13 missiles or 13 missiles. Charge shot this, go up, charge shot that, and now we're going to learn about Drog 1 cycle. It is really easy. You're going to hold the charge, right? You're going to hold the charge here, pre-aim at the damage point, 6 missiles, melee, 3 missiles, melee, 3 missiles, and then you're done. From this point forward, you can fight normally. And that's it. That's the fight. So, the reason why you want to actually still take the parry, even though you could actually do the melee repetition infinitely until he's dead. You could do that. But the reason why we take the parry is because we need HP. There's a boss coming up that uses damage boost strategies, so we need as much HP as we can get in order to fight that boss for like just fine. It also is incredibly important that you have more than 30 missiles for that upcoming fight as well, because it takes like 30 missiles to kill, 28 or 29 if you use a diffusion shot at the start of the fight. But we'll get to that when we get to that. If you have 4 tanks at this point for some reason, and you took the Kraid Missile Plus tank at red TP, which is over here. Nope, not here. Which is over... where the heck is red TP? Here it is. If you took this Missile Plus, then there's less, you know, there's less of an issue with taking the parry, but you still need the HP, so unless you have 4 E-tanks for some reason, you're going to want to take this parry and just do it. Otherwise, the fight is extremely easy. You can actually kill him faster than I did. I shot slower on purpose, just to, you know, like be able to articulate the process. You can go rewind, watch the input display, and see exactly what I'm doing in order to fully deconstruct what's going on here. Once you're done with that, slide through this, and you don't want to hold down or keep mashing your slide to get a morph, because then you're going to do this and then go through like that, when you could just slide through the tunnel and get slide momentum instead, which is much faster. There is a difference between that speed and there is a difference between this speed. Very noticeable. Get down, pivot, 3 flashes to get across this entire thing. If you fall for some reason, BG, and, you know, you just have to go back this way. But if you do fall, don't forget that there is a grapple magnet here, and then you can jump off of it and do your flash shifts. Once you get down, we're going to learn about Steve Climb, which is one of my favorite grapple ascents. Again, watch the input display. I like to stand at this little light here when I do my reps, right? Front foot on that light. Aim vaguely upright, more up than right. Then do a grapple, and then cancel it by releasing the button. But you want to be in the air when you start it. And then once you release the grapple, you want to go back to holding B. That gives you all the height you need to continue. Right? And again, when you're just starting, I would definitely suggest getting rid of these enemies first. Alright, in fact, let me do that right now. And now, once you get past that, you're going to do it again on this top magnet before you flash over to this area. That's the full grapple magnet. That's the full Steve Climb, as we call it. We call it the Steve Climb because the enemies have been colloquially named Steves. God knows why. But you can practice this for free, and it's extremely lenient when it comes to the grapple timings and the grapple angles. It's very, very lenient if you get it first try, because the leniency only comes about because of the enemy's starting positions. As soon as you have to do a second try or a third try, it might actually just become impossible to do as quick as possible on your retries, because the enemies are in different cycles and they can physically block your ascent. But on first try, you can do it like this every single time without fail. So get your practice in with the enemies gone, and then flash over to get around. Once you land from this flash, you're going to want to hit this one time, if possible, and then do a charge shot quick charge, right? A jumping quick charge to clear it immediately. And from this point on, you may be tempted to do something like this to get to the pad. You might be tempted to do something like this to get to the pad, or even this, or even this. But in fact, the fastest way to do it is to wall jump off of this and then do a backflash. That actually lines you up perfectly with the pad. And you don't have to travel this distance to get to this wall. You don't have to, you don't have to do a ledge hop, which does actually take slightly more time. Instead, you can wall jump off this, which happens pretty low, as you can see from the particles, and then time it correctly so that you can backflash with your feet skidding on the floor onto the pad. So the full cycle would look like... oh, like that. All right, and that is Barenia 2. All of it's done. Now we get to go to Gavarin, which is extremely flowchart, much like a lot of the game, but there's not actually a lot to go over here. It's mostly standard movement and a boss fight where you just throw yourself at it until it dies. Here, I like to walk and then grapple this so I can do a speed keep like this. Now, the way this works is once you speed, you do a full jump into a morph, and then you want to bounce first, right? And the bounce works by just letting it rock. You'll notice on the input display, I don't press B again or anything. I just let it rock, holding right the entire time. And the game will automatically bounce you up. Then I'm going to unmorph and do a small wall jump with a tap wall jump onto that small wall on the right side. And it gets me up here. If you time it correctly, you can actually get up there with the same bounce on the unmorph and just get up. Like that. The better you time it, the closer you get to the ledge itself, like this, and then you can immediately get into the hole like that, pretty much. Once you get up here, pull this. I like to slide more from the spot. Then I unmorph, hold the charge, right? Or do a quick charge, whatever happens to be. And then you can do one charge shot into a leisurely mash, pretty much, and you'll get past the spider for free. Now, if you don't have the health from Drog, I would suggest parrying these enemies so that you can get the health you need. You want at least 299 energy for this to make it the most consistent, given the boss's attack patterns. You can't die on rookie mode, at least, if you have this much HP. If you're on normal mode, I would actually suggest picking up a third tank. But on rookie mode, 2 tanks is pretty much as high as you need to go, unless you struggle with some of these boss fights and lose more health than you should, in which case you should still get a third tank. If you somehow don't have enough HP, you can try to coin flip the fight and work around it, or you can recognize that these enemies up here will not give you enough health, come down here and get this healing. But this is the healing pad of shame, as I like to call it, so try not to do that. And then as soon as you land from this quick charge, right, and start mashing away the spider, start a speed booster and get into the next room with speed active. There are 2 ways you can get around the speed. I will reset checkpoint to show you how it's like. The first one is the easy one, where as soon as you get into the black screen for the door and the speed's already turned on, you hold down immediately to get the speed booster stored, right? And then you spark this and then charge shot it. That is the first way to go around it. I'll show it more than once for fun. And also because there is a nuance to this. You can do a quick charge out of that spark bounce as well, or that spark bonk. Like that. Do a small quick charge right there. If you hit all 3 of those charge shots, I believe it has to be all 3, it could be 2, you will save a missile on this fight, which is free DPS. Why not? And then you can just start fighting the boss normally. There is another way to get a faster spark on this. It is very slightly faster, but if you mess up, you don't have a speed booster. So it's up to you. Alright, I just messed it up because I'm really good. Ideally, you would want to jump over the gap, store where the bot is spawning, and then wind up a shine spark so that it spawns inside of you and you hit it. That is ideally what you'd want to do for time save. Now, I've never really done this. There is a runner, B-Dog, who does this, from what I remember. In fact, he's the one who taught it to me. But the inconsistency can end up being keeping the speed all the way in, but that shouldn't be a problem if you clip this ledge first and then buffer a speed booster into it, which happens when you're shooting the spider at the same time. Nope, I lied. So you're gonna want to do a jump as soon as you get out. Again, I'm experimenting with this even now, but I do know it exists. Let me do a tap jump here. Yeah, so you'd want to do a full jump as soon as you get out of the door. And then store where the bot spawns, and then instantly do a wind-up Shine Spark so that the bot will spawn inside of your hitbox. And then you would basically store here, and then spark into the bot. Frame 1, once it spawns. It doesn't really save that much time, so unless you're really good at it, which I'm not, just don't do it. Stick to standard. And then here, you count, if you hit the charge shot, you count 29 or 28. And slide into the bot in between attacks. If you're familiar with the game and its boss fights, then this shouldn't be too hard at all. What you want to do is avoid getting hit by any of the claw attacks. Those things do a bajillion damage, especially on normal, so don't get hit. Now, once the bot fight is done, you're going to wait here for this door to open, just spam shots at it, and then you're going to do a small jump flash to get through. This jump flash comes with the benefit of putting you in the exact correct position to do a slightly to the left grapple cancel. Right? If you do it right, you'll get up like this. And then you can move on. From this point forward, I like to flash once into the room. Alright, the demi door will close, but bear with it. Flash once into the room, grab this magnet. Alright, then do a single wall jump, like so. And then you want to flash onto this platform, and then do a jump flash chain twice to the next platform. That, from my experience, I found to be the fastest way around it. Now, ideally, actually, you'd want to stub your toe on the end of this, so you stop here, because it puts you closer to this gap. It's kind of RNG, and I wouldn't really care about it, personally. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, oh well. But what you want to do is not get this. So give yourself enough height. Who cares? From this point forward, you're going to slide off and also shoot a diagonal magnet grapple downward. And then from that point forward, you're going to break out of it with a respin, and that allows you to keep the downward momentum, and then you can shoot these blocks as early as possible as well. If you are too late with the respin, you will end up grabbing the magnet here, which sucks. Don't do this. And also, I've died here before because magnets are funny, and if you have enough speed and the game doesn't stop you on the magnet, you can clip through the wall and die. So really, try not to do that, even if it's just luck, or bad luck, really. Try not to do that. Once you get down here, you're going to do a delayed coyote, if possible. It's very much the same as coyotes for things like Water Ass, or coyotes for things like the first Emmy zone in Artaria, with this coyote right here, right, where you can coyote to get up to this ledge. It's very much the same timing. And if you get this coyote, then you can do a pivot respin and get beyond this ledge and this ledge. Otherwise, you'd have to just kind of do funny stuff to get around it, which is really slow because that means you'd have to land here first. So try to get this coyote timing in mind, and you want to pivot as late as possible, and you want to flick the stick to pivot so that you don't accidentally grab this ledge by holding right for too long. So here's the full movement. Hopefully I get it, because it is a little tricky. That can happen as well. Oh, there it is. It is a little annoying. There's a lot of moving parts here with your hands. So thankfully the Emmy isn't active, so you can practice this at will. Like that. And you get down here as soon as possible. From here, what I like to do is start holding a charge. Flash twice, get into this room, and then I'd like to charge shot the floating bugs here. Right? But I'd like to do it as far right as possible on the middle of the bugs. That clears away the most of them. And the reason why I do this, right, is because I can do this movement. This is faster than speed boost. So 1, 2, right? I can do another one here, even. And this is the movement that ideally you would want. You would want to do 2 flashes to get to this ledge, shoot the door open, and then flash chain a 3rd flash. No one said this wasn't tricky. In fact, the super missile split, which is what this split is one of the harder splits to do at the highest level. So it takes a lot of practice, especially this movement here. Right? I'm messing it up even. And this movement here. If you miss the shot, you have to go low like I just did, and you can't complete the entire flash chain. So you need to make sure everything is working just as you want it to. But if you do land the movement, you feel like a god. So it's extremely fast to do it this way. Extremely fast. Now, if you don't want to do it like this, that's fine too. You can do the speed booster version. But it is substantially slower than the flash version. So that's up to you. Once again, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. Now, again, for speed purposes, it would be really nice if you could air flash through this instead of ground flashing. This is because ground flashing and air flashing have different distances. As you may have noticed, here I get to the middle of this purple colored thing, and an air flash goes slightly farther, right? Just like that. And ideally, you'd get an air flash, but if you don't, who cares? From this point, you would keep going with 3 flashes, and the benefit as well of the strat in the prior room is that it puts you at the precise spacing needed to get through this with 3 flashes. Because you have to wait for your Aeon to refill anyway. So it lets you get through with just 3 flashes. And no extra walking. Yep. Try that again. You can bonk the door by accident as well. And you can just get through. Sometimes, if you get the air flash especially, you can get through with just 2 flashes, which is really cool. And that's where a lot of the phantom time save on the split can come from. Is just minimizing the amount of flashes you need to do, because if you flash too far off this ledge, you have this air time you have to travel, which can cost time. Ideally, you'd want to flash such that you're just close enough to this ledge to where you can land farther onto the flipper. You can see the landing distance here versus the landing distance here, right? It's minor, but it does exist. From this flipper, you're going to do a slide morph and time it, if possible, such that when the flipper would flip, you morph right there. That allows you to keep sliding morph momentum all the way into this tunnel. If you do it too late, like I just did, you'll bonk on this and lose your speed, and it feels kind of bad, but it is what it is. It doesn't really matter. Here, I like to do a unmorph coyote into the top magnet while holding up. That way I grab the magnet ASAP. And then here, it's important to know that when you get into the next room, you want to flash at a delay. A very, very small delay. This happens if you flash too quickly. So instead, we delay it. And then you get over it just fine. With the respin at the end of the flash, of course. And then here, you just get into the next room. I like to flash here for fun. And the spacing is such that when you land, right? Well, when you do it correctly, of course, I have to break it into parts. You'll land and you'll be just over this ledge to where you can land and bomb. And then here, do what you need to do to get to the door. I like to shoot that missile right there. It just saves time. Over the baby SQ and get supers with a flash chain. Now, if you do this quickly enough, right? You can get out of this room before the door closes again. And then grapple the magnet and leave before the baby SQ hits you. Right? If you're too slow, you have to wait for the door to come back and then you have to shoot it again. But ideally, everything would click and you'd be able to just get through this without any delay. like that. So from this point on, it's mostly standard stuff. Flash 3 times through this. You'll notice here as well, I'm flashing with a delay to wait for the door to open, right? And then you get up here. So when it comes to doing single wall morph jumps into tunnels like these, if you press the morph button and jump at the same time, you'll get this, which is faster, right? This is obviously faster than delaying your inputs like this, even if it's just a little bit. Plus, it looks really cool. This also applies to post Quiet Robe on this magnet. Once you leave the boss arena, it also applies here. Like so. Alright, and then once you get through... Alright, super this. I hold a charge here. That way I can immediately get rid of these enemies. The quickest way to get around this would be to do a jump cancel morph, right? Which is tough. And we like to call this magic. I'm not sure where the term came from. But it's tough, so I don't even do it. Personally, it's not worth the risk. And here we will learn about what I believe the JP Discord calls this the sexy boost. We like to call it the hackathon boost because we're boosting off of a hackathon, which is the floating space whale. It's pretty tough to learn, really, but it's not that bad once you realize where to stand. So here's the normal movement, first of all. All right. Just get across the room as fast as you can and move on. So, for the hackathon boost, I'll show it one time, and then we'll talk about it. Oh, the space whale is not in the correct place. Let me back up, so it comes back to where it should be. Yep, that's a misstep. Ah, wrong way. You don't have to worry really about burning health here, unless you burn like all your health somehow. So that's hackathon boost. So the way that this works, and let me just what is the fastest way to kill these? Let me just get rid of this guy first. All right, great. So the way this works is you're going to want to walk into this room. Once you get as far as you can, do a high jump so you can flash onto this platform without stubbing your toe. And then once you cross over to the right side of the whale, you're going to do a spin jump, reverse your direction, and then go back to holding right. This is pretty precise. But the reason why this has to be done is because you want to be on the right side of the space whale in order to get a D-boost towards the right side at all. Let's see it again. Alright. For some reason that the whale isn't in the usual cycle again. I wonder if it's random. Except for when it's not. Because it always works first try if you do it the same way first try every time. Yeah, so the whale isn't cooperating anymore. But you can rewind the tape and see what it looks like when I did it correctly. And then just study it. Study the inputs. Study the timings. This is one of those cases, right? Where I mentioned at the beginning of the session, I mentioned, what was it? Much of the stuff in this game is just do it. So thankfully, you have an input display, you have a VOD, you have the timings, you have the buttons that you can replicate in order to get the boost the way it should be. Let me see if the space whale will cooperate this time. Nope. The whale is not in the same cycle. But either way, you'd get to the end here. Then here, I'd do a jump into the door frame and 3 flashes. And then melee on to the pad. That, I found, is the best way to use your flashes and space towards the pad. Moving on to Elon, everyone's least favorite area. Unless you like Elon for some reason, but you're weird. I'm sorry. Not really. And from here, I like to just spam flash and shoot to the right. But here, I'm going to do one flash and then delay the second flash so that I get through the door right after it opens. Just like before. And here, I do 3 air flashes, and it lines you up perfectly with this, and you can just bomb it and move on. Now, obviously, you'd have some forward momentum here, so you can bomb both at the same time. Do the same thing. Move on. And this room, you can do a couple different ways. So you can do it like this, which used to be the strat that I used to use. But I do it differently now, just for fun. I don't actually know if it's faster. I like to do this ledge to ledge into a flash chain, like so. I'm not sure which one's better, but now that we have the VOD, we can check it, because this is basically just cross timing, right? But this room is very, very good as well for practicing buffering your ledge hops out of flashes. It's really good for this, because the best movement, at least for right side, ends up using that mechanic. So use this to your advantage. Pick left or right, much like the Artaria climb. Pick whichever way you want to go, and go up the way that you feel is best for you. Here, I slide off, flash left once, morph bomb, open the door, and then flash through. Now, you'll notice there... Let me get rid of this guy. He's annoying. So you'll notice here, right, when I open the door, I waited a bit on the jump before flashing. Now, this is important, because if you flash immediately, right, there is a chance that you cannot clear this ledge cleanly from here. See? Especially if you don't jump high. If you land like this and you get air flash and you get ground flashes instead, you will absolutely not clear this ledge. So I like to hang in the air for a bit, just to make sure I'm like in the air and far enough, and then I can get my flashes to clear everything. All right. I'm gonna go back and get a quick heal because I don't have HP, and you normally have full HP in this segment. Die! Thank you. All right, great. So here we're going to do a series of slide flashes, where you slide, get hit by an enemy, and then flash through. Like this. Now, for the second flash down here, you're going to want to wait on the bong. You want to make sure it gets you high enough, just a little, that way you can buffer another B input into grabbing the ledge with the flash and climb in immediately. The actual fastest way to get around this room, from what I understand, is... Oh, let me just kill him first. Is to shoot this as you're falling, and then do a very, very precise flash with your head on the ceiling over the enemy, but that's really hard because there's really not enough space. And I believe it also is influenced by the enemy's breathing cycle, because there are times where he's low and there are times where he's high. So I like to do the flash bonk instead. And then we go to supers. Some people forget you have flash here. Don't forget. And then get plasma. So for this upcoming speed keep, you're going to want to be on the actual item claw. And also, when you're going up to plasma, make sure you only shoot this much at maximum. Don't break this. And the reason why is because when you get on top of this, you can melee off and immediately start your speed keep. If you break that third block, this no longer works. If you only break these, you're fine. And then for this speed keep, I would suggest playing it at half speed and looking at my inputs. Alright, there's too many moving parts there for me to just, for me to point out. So definitely just slow it down in the VOD and take a look at the inputs here. Alright, now for this boss, there are a couple nuances to the strats. Beam fire is the fastest, right? Beam fire. If you're good, you can weave missiles into it. If you're good at this technique, you can weave missiles into it. Moving forward, right? Now, there is another bit of nuance to this. If, and only if, you do not have, like, 299 health going into this fight, when you spark open the door, right? Wait for the red X, get the refill, and then go into the room. This obviously does not apply if you messed up the speed keep. But if you did land the speed keep, and you have like 1.5 tanks, wait for the red X. Trust me. Go into the fight, right? And then just start firing away. So the best RNG you can get for the entire fight is full ground. Ideally, he will never jump to the wall. So I just got the best RNG, where he attacked on the ground 4 times. Generally, if your DPS is good enough, you will be able to finish the fight in 4 grounded attacks. Generally. And this is especially so if either A, your mashing speed is really fast, or B, you're missile weaving. One of the two. For those with without the skill to weave missiles in between their mashes, or for those with the inability to mash at like 10 shots a second for the entire fight or so, you may see a 5th, 6th, or even 7th attack, especially if you have to dodge the attacks as well. But ideally, you would be able to stay grounded the entire time, not have to focus on aiming, which is so bad in this fight, and then just fire away as long as you want, pretty much. Okay, so from here on, we have a couple choices to make with regards to our perceived ability to play the rest of the run. If you have trouble in Frozen Artaria, if you have trouble in the upcoming boss fights or Chozo fights, if you have trouble with Z57 in terms of dying or taking too much damage, or Raven Bee, just get the C-Tank. Once you get better at those fights, you can start skipping the C-Tank. But I would just get it. Ideally, this would be your 4th E-Tank of the run, and you never need E-Tanks ever again. But the better you get, the more you can just skip every single E-Tank aside from the 2 that I'm about to show, which is this E-Tank down here, and this E-Tank in Cataris over here. These 2 E-Tanks are like the fastest and most practical E-Tanks to get in the run. So the better you get, the more you'll be able to skip every E-Tank except these 2. I would never suggest playing this cat on 1 tank. That is suicide. Don't do that. All right, let's move on. So here, we're going to do a speed booster, but I'm going to hold Y, and we're going to do an instant spark out of the store, and then tap R once we get past a certain visual cue, which is this pillar right here. So what I like to do, right, from here, is I like to wait for 2 pillars to pass, 1, 2, and then release my R shot. If you do it too late, you're going to spark into the store like that, which is not very good. So try not to do too late on the R shot. And then when you bonk the door again, holding Y the entire time, you can R shot the next door. And if you need practice on instant sparking, just use this area once you get here in your practice. All right. It's really important to do it here because it saves so much time. It saves so much time over just running. I'm so serious. Like, for the amount of effort you're putting into it, it saves a lot of time. And then we just, once we bonk the door and open it, jump into the frame again, 3 flashes, and you'll land on the pad for free. Now we can move on to Gaverin once again to collect the ice missiles. But also, do not forget the hardest boss of the game. Which is this cutscene. You can start mashing it as soon as you get into the gray screen. Many runs have forgotten that this cutscene exists. This is one of 2 final bosses in the game. Do not forget it. It's free time loss. All right. There's another speed keep here, and the way to set it up is to flash twice towards this magnet door and then magnet it. You might think, I don't have enough space, right? But you do, because the magnet is really lenient in this game, or the grapple is very lenient. So even if visually it doesn't look like I'm reaching the door, you are reaching the door. 2 flashes is great spacing for this. And then we speed. Again, watch the input display in rewind for the speed keep. And study the timings. Alright, and then you would get here, pretty much. So I'll show it again. The hardest part of the speed keep is this ledge right here. You want to make it so that you can morph a little later than instant, because otherwise you might not make it all the way up. Worst case scenario, the ledge will scam your speed booster, which I'm not going to try to show intentionally because it doesn't happen to me anymore because I morph late enough. But you want to try to intentionally morph late. And then from here, we do a full jump through and then continue the speed keep like this. So, what do you do if you get the bad spawn on the Emmy? Which I'll try to show. Like this. Great, we got the bad spawn. Now, what do you do here? The Emmy is here. What's next? The answer is to delay your wall jump as late as you can on the first wall jump going up. And then you'll give him just enough time to move up and over the sledge. And then you can continue. That is the best thing you can do. I am bad. But again, you can practice this speed keep, right? You can practice this speed keep on your first visit to Gavarin if you want on your way to supers. This way the Emmy isn't here to bother you. But if you do want to practice it with the Emmy in the room, now is the best time. And you don't have to back up all the way here to do the speed keep unless you want to do the full thing. You can start it here. And then move on. So for the sake of consistency, I'll show the entire thing. And compared to those of you who do not do this strat, you might be able to appreciate the time difference. So we'll wait a bit for the door to open. Off the pad. 2 flashes. Whoop. There we go. Ooh, I messed up there. That's crazy. This is why you need to practice. Try that one more time. Nope. Door didn't open. Or door was closed, rather. And then you'd move on to this area. So, here, when I do my grapple up in the water pool to get up to this magnet, I like to grapple cancel and rub my head as high up as I can on this, right? And the reason why I do that, if I can just get this guy out of the way, the reason why I do that is so I can flash 3 times into this next room and then buffer another B input into a ledge hop. Right? And then I can immediately go into grapples from here. And the smoothest movement would have basically 0 interruptions. You'd be able to ledge hop off this, grapple this, cancel it, land here, grapple this, cancel it, and then flash it out of the Emmy zone. The movement looks so clean if you can nail all of it. It's worth practicing. You might want to practice it after clearing all the enemies out of the Emmy zone once the ice Emmy is dead, because the Emmy can be a little bitch for practice. That was barely acceptable compared to the actual fastest way. Right here, I grabbed the magnet by accident. I didn't cancel it. Here, this was fine. Right? Trust. So from here, once I land, I like to do a small jump and then do a ledge morph. Underwater ledge morph off of this ledge. It's basically just pressing morph when you're nearing a ledge in water. For some reason, it boosts you really far forward compared to, for example, falling off of it first and then morphing. You have more airtime and you land on this crack right here. Whereas if you do your ledge morph, you have much faster speed and you even end up rolling a little further. So, and the timing is very, very lenient. All right, so, right. And then here, once I land, I lay a bomb instantly and then do my underwater bomb jump to get up. If you have trouble with underwater bomb jump, from my experience, most people mess this up because they unmorph way too soon. Right? For some reason. So A, they don't lay their bomb max height, and then B, they unmorph way too soon. I am a big advocate of take your time on this trick. Seriously, on every single water bomb jump you do, in any percent, in 100%, in this category, especially this one, because this one's really important. Otherwise, you have to go get spin boost early, which is no bueno. You're gonna want to take your time on it. Take your time on the unmorph. Make sure that Samus rises in the air as high as possible before you unmorph. That way you can grab the ledge for free. And then here, you can do this movement to get up and through the mushroom climb. Now, there are a couple things to this as well. I'm gonna get rid of the mini SQ if possible. Please die. I don't want you bothering me. Alright, cool. So, there are a couple things to this mushroom climb that it's really important to keep in mind. If you make a mistake here, you have to fall all the way down. No one wants to do that. The time save strat, it's another couple frames, or maybe like half a second or so. You'd want to do this jump like this. Now, you'll notice there I did a wiggle jump going up to the second mushroom. This is because if you just hold left, there is a chance you will hit the bottom of the mushroom and you will fall. That is bad. So I do a wiggle just to make sure that I stay on the right corner of the mushroom as long as I can. If you don't want to deal with this, you can just wall jump off this and you get the same effect. However, the wall jump is obviously a touch slower. So get rid of the baby SQ and you can practice this movement for free. Flashing onto this mushroom, pressing B right before you would grab the ledge in order to buffer a ledge hop. And then do a single wall flash into a flash chain to grab this. Again, buffering B on this ledge so that you do a ledge hop. Like that.
Actually, I have a question. On the very last mushroom, because I know that a lot of people like you, as soon as you touch the mushroom, you flash and it automatically bounces to the ledge. I have a lot of trouble with the timings. I don't know when. So when you touch the last mushroom, do you immediately flash or do you wait a little bit?
Is it this one?
No, the very top one here. Yeah, you see, as soon as you touch the mushroom on the right side, you immediately flash to the ledge.
Oh, I don't.
I mean, on that.
I don't actually. I forget this mushroom exists. This mushroom doesn't factor into anything. But if you want to,
right? So
I suppose you could actually use the mushroom as a visual cue. The rhythm should be such that once Samus gets to the mushroom, you can do a right side flash instantly. That should be your rhythm. Pretty much.
I see.
Yeah, it actually works. That's fine. Sure. You learn something new every day.
Right.
So
there's like an instantaneous flash after touching that mushroom, so you can just bounce to the ledge here.
Yes.
Alright.
Alright, I'll show the entire movement. That should be it. Show it once again for fun. I like this movement a lot. It's very clean. Wait for that mushroom to spawn.
Yeah. Okay, one.
So there I didn't even touch the mushroom. That's why I'm saying, like, sometimes I just don't, like, I really don't factor the mushroom in at all. What I'm mostly waiting for is my Aeon to come back. which I'm not really looking at either, because the movement is perfect enough to where the next action is called right when your Aeon spawns. There's a rhythm to this.
Okay, okay, I understand now. Okay, so May seems like you flashed it pretty much, but instead you were just doing it following the walk count.
Yeah.
So you sounds like. Okay, I was thinking about this. Oh, I was like thinking about it's a really complicated timing for you to do the bounce from the mushroom, but it just seems like you were touching the mushroom, but you weren't actually.
Correct.
Interesting. Okay, all right. I was thinking about this all wrong.
The actual visual cue that I end up using for this is hold on, let me just make sure it spawns. I'm actually waiting for Samus's height to meet the ledge, so that when I flash, I can buffer my B and put into the ledge hop. That's what I look at. I don't look at this mushroom. But if you wanted to, you can look at the mushroom, because the mushroom is actually just at the correct height for it, I would say. Now, if you do this too early, you're not gonna get it, right? So you're gonna have to do a recovery set of flashes. Worst case scenario, you fall all the way back down. So I would take my time with it, because if you'll notice, all right, let me just wait for that mushroom to come back. If you'll notice, full jump height on that wall jump is perfect. So you could wait a little bit if you'd like. All right, moving on. Hold the charge coming in. Open this door first. Speed into this fight. Do an instant spark if you care. If you don't, that's fine. All I will mention regarding this, however, and this is important, because I see people wasting time on this for no reason at times. If you're going to do a spark upward, you can hold up and press B, and you will skip the windup. There is no need at all to do a melee. I see people do this all the time, and it blows my mind. You don't need to do that. Please, I beg. But that said and done, once you break the outer shell with a Shine Spark, mash your way through the CU. And now we're moving on to the movement towards fighting the blue Emmy. This one's good. There are a couple ways to go around this. Let me think. Does the Emmy spawn at the same spot? It does. Okay, cool. So, there are a couple ways to go about this. No matter what, though, your setup will always start with sitting in the same position. And you open the door from here. This is step one. So from this point on, you can do one of two things. You can do delayed flashes out of the room into a fast slide and then start fighting. If you do this correctly, the Emmy will automatically be at the door. If you do it too slow like I did, you'll catch the Emmy peeking out a little bit here as you're going up, and then you'll lose time. This saves around half a second. Now, I would never suggest doing this because it's not worth it. The risk is too great. So instead what you can do is speed out of the room, slide once you have speed, and then do this movement. And now the Emmy's already here to fight. This is extremely lenient as long as you know your Shine Spark timing or your Speed Booster timing, which you should after enough playing around with it. And then here, there's not really much to say in terms of how to hit this with accuracy. Just gotta get used to the angle. And then there, you'll notice I did a perfect greed, as I like to call it, which is where I assume that the shots that are traveling will finish it, so I start charging my Omega Cannon early. It's a minor save. You don't really need to worry about it, but it can save upwards of a second if you greed really well. So, up to you. Otherwise, you can choose to not greed and it's okay.
Alright, I understand what you said before about how you don't need to take 2 steps back before speed boosting.
Yes.
As long as you slide in time, we'll be fine.
Yes.
UMP won't be delayed.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you want to practice that, you can do what I did, where you can just reset the checkpoint every time you mess up. If that's too much for you, you can just practice it after killing the enemy.
Yeah. I think before the last time I tried the neutral setup, I slid too late. That's probably why Blue Emmy was delayed in coming out.
Right.
So as long as you slide in time, it'll trigger Blue Emmy to move upwards.
Correct. As long as you slide into this with speed and you do the rest of this movement quickly, the Emmy will recalculate its path towards you by going up towards that door instead.
Yeah.
Alright. Great. Now, depending on where you kill the Emmy, if you kill it quickly enough, you will kill it and land here after the cutscene, which is what you'd want. Means that you did the fight quickly. Sometimes you'll see yourself spawning here, or God forbid here if it got really scary. But it doesn't really matter either way. This is where I'm going to start my my explanation for the next segment, because it'll assume that you have good mastery on the Blue Emmy fight. So here I like to do one flash into a respin into another flash. And the reason why I do this is because if you delay the respin enough, you can actually make it under this, which is really cool. See? And if you just do 2 flashes, you'll hit head first onto it. It doesn't really matter. It's just for style. And then you can make it up. If you spawn here, what I like to do is do 2 flashes into a wall kick into a 3rd flash. That way you can get around it. And if you spawn here for some reason, just go normally. Whatever. So I'll show this movement again. Right. And now we have this room. So what I like to do, alright, is jump just before the frame and then do 3 delayed air flashes. And I delay this on purpose because it puts me right here. And now, if you just walk off of this, you'll have to deal with this ledge. So what I like to do is melee off of this and do a respin to get over it. There's a melee just like this in Escape. So we'll mention it in Escape once we get there. Alright, you can practice this for free. And then you can go back to the Emmy zone and put it all together. Alright, I would start here. Right? You can just put this into reps and you'll figure it out. Right. And if you do your respin too early, you're going to jump here instead. It is what it is. But ideally you'd have the rhythm set such that you'll press B once you clear the ledge to respin, and then you can shoot the Enki immediately. Once you do that, fall off, shoot down a couple times, and morph. We morph because morphing has higher, faster speed. And there is a speed keep here you can do into the upcoming trick. I am going to intentionally ignore it because it's full of shit, but it is faster. But we'll revisit that speed keep later. So here, I like to, once I open this door, all right, I like to do 2 flashes to a delayed flash after a shot. Do the same thing here. Get up with this, and then shoot this open. And now we have to do ledge warp in order to get in and out of spin boost as fast as you can. There are a couple of ways to do this. There is a ledge warp guide somewhere, but I'll do a quick one right now. You can watch the input display. First, get used to spin jumping towards this ledge without holding a direction. So as soon as you tap left and B to jump towards the ledge, hold the B button and let go of any direction. You'll notice that you get this mantle animation from Samus every time. You want to morph what I believe to be 2 frames before this mantle animation occurs. And if you do it correctly, right, that's not good, that's 1 frame. And if you do it correctly, you will land on the ledge in morph. This is your visual cue to know that you have correctly stored a ledge warp. If you do it 1 frame before, as mentioned, you'll get a trick called Spaceball, which is incredibly useless. All it does is jump you into the sky. You don't want that. Like that, see? You don't want this. And the benefit of doing the stick neutral setup is that every time you mess it up, every single time you mess it up, right, you will fall without getting on the ledge like this. Compared to this one, for example, where I landed on the ledge, I have ledge warp. I've heard of some fringe cases where you land on the ledge but don't have ledge warp. I have never dealt with that, so I can't comment. But if you land on the ledge with stick neutral, you will have ledge warp every time. There is another setup. If you're familiar with short boosting, you can open this door, do a tap jump into the door frame, do a backflash, cancel it, and then slide. If you do this correctly and quickly, right? I'm not very good at this, but if you do this correctly and quickly, you'll get this state. And here, if you morph, you will have ledge warp as well. And then in this state, you can keep going and proceed to spin boost and then ledge warp out of the room. This is only if you find it more comfortable than the ledge setup. The ledge setup is very easy. The short boost setup, for most people, because it's a short boost, it's not very comfortable. You can compare the inputs even. So here's the input for a jump ledge morph. And here's the input for a short boost ledge morph, or ledge warp. It's not easy. However, if you do get this extremely consistent, first try, it is the fastest way to do this. For sure. Alright, now that we have ledge warp, we're going to move on. We're going to do a couple bomb jumps here. There are fast ways to get in through this water. I like to do is intentionally take a hit. Ideally, I would land a bomb with getting hit by the bugs, which gives me a good amount of height. And then here, I like to do 1, 2 like this and skip having to wait for a third bomb. You can still do that with the bugs here, but it's annoying and I don't really care.
A quick question, Seth. Why didn't you clear that other ledge at the previous room? You just rolled down.
This one?
Isn't it better? Yeah, this one. Isn't it better just to jump over
Oh,
it?
it's just I just forget about it. You should do a small jump out of this for sure.
Yeah, so, yeah, here's what I do here.
Yep. And then you just go towards the guy, grab it, and then ledge warp out of the room. Easy as pie. Please, for the love of God, do not accidentally unmorph facing right in the air. Otherwise, you will lose 20 seconds of your time, and it's garbage. Including all the time you spent setting up the ledge warp. You'll lose that too, so don't do it. All right, so once you ledge warp out of the room, all right, I like to do a slide off of this and flash, and then go through. Now, if you want to be extra spicy, you can actually do a grapple cancel downwards, much like in Gav 1, but it sucks, so don't do it. And now here, you can grab the ledge and then speed off of it in order to do the upcoming trick called tumble. Right, but I personally don't care if you need to freeze it or not. You can freeze it with an ice missile and make it super, super consistent every time. I'm gonna spawn in the spin boost room. Yay. And now you'll get to see what the movement looks like coming out of this. Look how slow this is. Yay. If this does happen to you, by the way, shoot this with a diffusion shot while you're going up. That way you don't have to bomb it later. But you want to have a speed booster going into the Gavrun Warrior so that you can just get rid of the first phase as soon as possible. If you need to freeze this, that's fine. And then my visual cue for this fight is the purple flower, or the purple greenish flower in the front of the arena. I like to get to it, and then as soon as possible, I like to tap B and aim up left. Every single time works without fail. There are people who, there are the 3 known ways that I know anyway to get this consistent. People like to flash to the left of the room, wait for him to show up, and then do an instant spark upward. There is one person I know who likes to get up here and then wind up a spark to hit the warrior frame 1. I am not suggesting you ever do this. If you accidentally spark, you have wasted so much time. I like my setup. It works for me. Do what you think is best. And the fight is the same from here compared to the Elon Warrior. Right? If this happens, oh god. Aiming is so hard when you're doing missile weaving especially. So just try to deal with it. Get through the fight as fast as you can. Ideally, of course, you would want full ground. You almost always want full ground with the warriors. And then you can move on. So there is a speed keep that you can do here in order to get through this tunnel with a full speed booster, saving a lot of time on your way to gravity. I'm really bad at it, so let's figure it out. Grab the ledge, speed in, jump, and then do some arcane jumps here. And then you ideally want to keep the speed booster all the way up there. Thankfully, practicing this is really easy because you can go through this door. Everyone has a different set of timings for this, from what I understand. I am really bad at this. So I'm going to try to get it one time, and then I'll just say, all right, great, study that footage. Sounds good to me. Yeah, like this, great. I did it, yay! This is so fast compared to normal movement. Even though you spend 8 years wall kicking up this, even though you spend some time jumping here, jumping here, jumping here, or you can spin boost to skip a ledge even if you're good enough, you save so much time rolling through this tunnel with speed. It is so worth it. So if you can do it, great. For those wondering, how much time does it actually save? I have a gold on this split that doesn't do the speed keep, and Noya's gold is 6 seconds faster than mine. I struggled to realize where I was losing 6 seconds until I saw this. So here we're just gonna go up, do a speed booster, wall jump off this, store early so that you can do a slide morph into this, and then do a Y plus B instant spark to get in. Now here, I'd like to try to do a jump morph into this tunnel. It's tough because there's water and it's a 3-block high thing. You would ideally want to connect your B input as close as you can to your, well, other way around. You would ideally want to connect your morph input as soon as you can to your B input. And also, you need to jump away from it and then pivot back towards the right. Otherwise, if you hold right and press B, you just climb into it, right? So, figure it out. But if you do get this, it is slightly faster, ever so slightly, than climbing into the ledge like this. And that's only because there's water. The water slows down your climbing animation as well. And then we just come down. And we're going to gravity. There's a lot of stuff about the gravity speed puzzle that's really important to know. Just to explain it early, if you have confidence, you'll never mess it up. As soon as you start worrying about messing it up, that's when you'll start messing things up. And this applies to everything in this game, in terms of speed gaming. And probably with every other speedrun in existence. If you ever start doubting, that's when you start lowering your expected performance. Alright, here you want to back out of the tunnels every time so that you can get to the next block ASAP. Missile, pivot, missile, pivot, missile, pivot. And now here, for the spacing to this block, what I like to do is flash through the door, melee once, and then speed. And I store right before the blocks would blow up, and the skidding animation of the speed booster will break the blocks for you. Now, you can do this too early, especially if you're far away, and not break the blocks at all. So that's another reason why I like to do the spacing that I do, which is a flash melee into the speed. Because it puts me in the perfect position to store on the blocks. Now this obviously requires you to know very intimately when the speed booster starts as you speed. So if you're not familiar with that, you can do one of two things. You can speed like this, and then store, or you can go all the way and speed. That way you can react to your speed booster timing. Either one is fine. But once you get the store, watch my inputs. Right? Oop, don't watch my inputs. I messed it up. Great. I'm a really good teacher. But you'll notice I'm pressing B with confidence. I don't care. Especially when I get through this door and I respin to fall quicker, I'm pressing B with the confidence that I will not spark this wall by accident, because it never happens. Unless you start doing some funny business with your other inputs. If you add another input when you're holding a speed booster or when you're holding a shine spark, you might spark out of a random input. It has happened to so many people. There are stories of people sparking out of triggering your missiles. I don't know how that works, but it works sometimes. There are other horror stories of people instant sparking out of grabbing a ledge, of shooting a door, all this other nonsense. So try to minimize as many inputs as you're doing as you can, so that you don't inject accidental periods where you can shine spark out of nothing. It's also important to know the Y plus B spark for this, which only works out of a respin. So you'll notice that's why I'm respinning all over the place. And then here on, you have a choice to make. You want 50 missiles, or as close to 50 missiles as you can, going to the end of the game for the Ravenbeak fight, if you only use ice missiles on Ravenbeak, because it takes 50. So, if you skipped the Kraid Missile Plus, which I highly recommend not doing, if you skipped this Missile Plus tank right here, then you're gonna get this one. And then you're gonna get the other one coming up after Frozen Artaria. But don't skip the red TP one, because it also helps with Kraid, and it also helps with Drog, and it also helps with the Gav Robot. So don't skip it. We're just gonna move on. And here, I can't do it again, because it would take me too far back. But when I get out of the tunnel, I manually unmorph, respin, and then start shooting the block under me. If you don't do this and just let the game take the wheel, you'll land on the block first and then blow it up, which wastes just a little bit of time. So again, you manually unmorph, respin, and then shoot downwards. You can see it on the input display if you rewind the tape. And here I do a morph jump out of the tunnel, unmorph, grab the ledge. And then here I do morph jumps and then unmorph to grab the ledge again. One shot, quick charge, quick charge, quick charge, quick charge, quick charge. There are times where the blobs will actually be ready for you when you move on to the next one, and it only takes one quick charge. We call that God blobs. If only one of the blobs works like that, we call it demigod blobs. So you'll see it sometimes be mentioned, especially in my VODs. But runners like B-Dog and Arcandy as well, they may make a mention of God blobs if they get all three blobs quickly. Don't shoot this blob, by the way. It causes a little bit of lag, as far as I understand. Except in Hundo. You want to break it in Hundo. So now we have the gravity suit, which is great. Flash once, respin right, start speeding. Store close to the edge, flash twice, respin into it. Wait, not flash twice, flash once. Sorry, wrong.
Wait a second.
Yeah. Don't flash twice, flash once. If you're gonna flash twice though, you'd want to store ASAP. And then you can flash twice. That's what I wanted to say, my bad. So when I hit the ceiling there, you'll notice that I'll delay my flashes. And again, it's so I can open the door for free. I hold the charge here as well, for fun. What the fuck? Alright, cool. That's a controller issue. So once I up spark, I hold the Y button to hold the charge for this door. Flash once, release it, and then delay my next two flashes so I can flash through the door. And then just flash through, melee onto the pad, whatever you need to do, and you'll get here for free. Please do not accidentally spark upright like I just did. You will hate yourself, and so will your time.
Can confirm.
Yep. I think many people, including myself, we fucked up Burning Tower before. It's so bad. Especially in any percent when you have to do another thing at the top of the room, which we will get to later. But yeah. Here's the second hardest boss of the game. There's a cutscene here too. Don't forget. I'm already mashing plus minus. Alright, off we go. Open the door. Flash 1, 2, 3. Slide morph into that flipper. Wall kick off the right side. Flash here. That's my movement. I don't actually know what's like the best here, but I've always done it like this.
So, alright, so what Ed told me is like to avoid like the bad bug RNG, you can, once you drop from the flipper, you free aim down so the camera pans down to where the bugs spawn.
Yeah.
So the bugs never spawn on the left side.
That works. That works. Yep. You can do this to spawn the bugs earlier. I don't care because I hold the charge the entire time anyway. And then once I slide through this, I release it, and then it kills the bugs anyway. That's what I do.
Right.
And then moving on, I like to do a wall kick here. You can do a spin boost here, doesn't matter. And then store, and your store skid should get you into the next room. This is the best way I found to make this really easy, because it spaces you perfectly for this diffusion shot. Notice the angle here. if you store here and do an upshot, I've seen horror stories of people missing this. But
I missed that. That's why I always like to store as soon as I pass through the door. So
exactly.
What Justin says, a 1 o'clock angle if you store right there.
Exactly.
To do.
And then you just move on. Much like Tumble, except we're on the ground this time. And then I like to back up and then start mashing. Great, we got double ground RNG. Perfect. Again, if you get the guy jumping all over the place, just blame Mercury Steam. Whatever. And going into the next room, I like to open the door and do 3 flashes. Like this. And then respin to the left. And then back to the right, slide under, and flash. This always works. Always. You will take a bit of damage on the fart cloud of the worm over here, but none of the worms will hit you, and you can continue. This always works. If you do it right. And it's born from the way you leave the room. All right, so there I messed it up because I took a little bit of I took a little too much time getting down there. So if you can manage to skip the worm, that means you did it quickly and you did it correctly. Everything needs to be as fast as you can. And then you do another speed keep. I like to stay in ball through that.
Yeah, I find the morph shot is really easy to open the door and not lose your speed along the way.
Mm-hmm. And then here, most people end their speed keep here because doing a, like, in order to keep it through this, you'd have to do a jump through the transition. So you land down here, then you unmorph and you continue. It's hard. It doesn't matter, but if you do get it, you're the best player ever. And I think only one person has gotten it super consistent, and his name is Bane, and now he's married, so the guy is just living the life. Let's try this again. I'm gonna back up all the way just to make sure the enemies respawn. Oh, see, that's me messing it up again. Now I'm in danger. Yeah, just like this. Now, ideally, you would keep the spark all the way, then you would slide under, or you wouldn't store here. You would just drop down, slide in, flash melee into the upcoming enemy, and then restart your speed keep like this. This is very comfortable compared to any other strat. This is extremely comfortable. I do this all the time. There is another strat you can do here with this speed keep. Utilizing spin boost, it saves just a little bit of time. All right.
Oh, right. The full
right.
Speed all the way up.
I don't actually know where to jump for this because I haven't studied it. I think it's... I thought it was... Where is it? Oh, I found it. Cool. All right, great. No, hello? Yeah, you would do a spin boost jump here and just bring it all the way up. You'd fall like ba da 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 ba ba up wall jump store spark up. I don't care to learn it, so if you, God bless if you can do it, but I would just stick with the normal speed keep. It's really easy and it makes Frozen R a lot less harder than it has to be. Right, like this is what you could do. I mean, you'll lose a lot of speed boosters this way, so who cares? Just do the other way.
I'm glad this is recorded.
If you're good at short boosting, you can do a short boost here. Alright. It is slightly tough. You'd want to ideally aim yourself under this ledge. Alright, and you need to do a very good short boost so that you have the most amount of time. Like this. Yeah. If you don't know how to short boost or you don't care to learn it, don't worry about it. All right, that's me trying to do the other strat again. This is why I don't care. Because if you do mess it up, you have to do this, which is really lame. Getting up, hold a charge to shoot the store. Do not land here, please. You will die. And here, I like to hold a charge and tickle the enemy from under so that he moves quickly. Let me reset the room here to try and show you. See that he moves a lot quicker because I tickled him? Oops. Don't do that. Up spark this way. And then here, this one's tough, but it's really useful. You do a 1, right? Getting all the way over here. 1, 2, delay 3. All the flash shifts here are delayed. It gives you the time you need.
Oh, interesting.
But it's hard. You'll notice here that when I flash, right, I'm trying to flash, like, I don't wait to get all the way up before flashing, because then I might run out of the time I'm given to chain the flashes. I'll do it just before I clear the ledge, because the game's leniency system will push me onto the ledge, and I'll be able to move on. So once again, 1, 2, and then 3. Right there, I waited too long. 1, 2, 3. And you can move on from here. Then you can just keep going. And there are a couple ways to approach these rooms. I do it by instant sparking through this tube, and then using an R shot to open the door. Right, if you do it too early, you'll bonk on the door, which sucks. Like this. Get through here like this. And now this is the fastest way through the room. Right? Only works if you have spin boost. So thankfully we have spin boost. You can do it without spin boost, but it's incredibly inconsistent. And you can do this for style if you want. But the fastest way actually is to go up like this.
Just grapple. Right.
Ideally, you do a grapple cancel here. But it's tough because there's the bug at the top, right? There's the ply.
Yeah.
And also, it's a little awkward in general. And that's Frozen Art.
Howdy.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. You've made it just in time for everything after Frozen Art. Don't worry, everything before this will be recorded and uploaded.
Oh, thank God.
No worries.
Fight our favorite boss without skew.
True. All right. So, moving into the frozen place of Cataris. The descent downwards is mostly the same with one alteration. So I like to flash through this mashing and then hold a charge from this point forward. Because you can, if you're good enough, which I'm not, you can get rid of this guy with a charge shot. With 1. I don't know how to do it consistently in the movement. So I just take the damage and I treat it just like Cataris 1 with this platform wave. Charge shotting this, and then do a delayed morph hop to get over that missile. You can also just do a big one, but this happens. So don't do that. You want to make sure that you do a short enough hop to where you can get over it, but not land on that. Or you can just get the missile, whatever.
Okay.
Leaving this tunnel. Wait, sorry, go on.
Has anyone figured out how to get the fall consistent to where you don't have to damage boost the robot?
No.
Because, like, there have been times when I can just fall past.
Yeah, I can confirm there are sometimes where I slip through the robot, but it's like 30% of the time.
I've never gotten it that way, so I wouldn't know.
Huh.
Yeah, and also what I do here instead, I morph down the shaft rather than spin because of the vertical momentum like this.
That's fine either way. I do it like this because it's consistent with my movement in Cataris 1.
Right.
So here you would grab the ledge out of the unmorph, do a high ledge hop, and then ideally you would line yourself up with the ledge so you can buffer another B input.
I'm trying to do this now.
Yep.
Really nice.
And then here, wait for the door, 1, 2, then jump up.
Yep.
And now here, it's important to know that you'll notice here, I can get up here first, and then do a jump morph into this tunnel, or I can use the stepping animation to raise my height and do the same thing.
You can actually do that.
Is that faster than spin boosting like this? That's what I always do.
It should be, but it's very minor, so do whatever you want. You can do it like, the advantage of spin boost, you can do it early, but I just like doing this because it's cool.
Right.
It should be the same regardless, no matter what.
Yeah, with spin boost, you can do at the very top tip of the ledge.
Yeah.
It's 1, 2.
All right, so going into the fight, if you get claws at the start, your life is pain. If you get spits, that's great. So we do have a trick or a DPS option called charge missiling. If you look at the input display, it is exactly as it sounds, where I rotate my inputs between, you know, shoot, Y, and R, returning to Y at the end.
You have to let go of... Oh, I guess you have to press Y to fire the missile after the charge shot gets released.
Yes.
You have to release and repress.
Yes, you have to release and repress Y for that reason. And you have to keep holding Y after that shot so that you have the next quick charge ready to go. The rhythm is exactly as you see it. This is the optimal rhythm. You can take your time. Just know that it's a little slower. I need to
over 1 per second.
I need to refill my missiles now, because I won't have any.
So
Sad, are you going to be covering the inevitability of Z57 skew kill becoming glitchless, as championed by Charlotte and Hobbit?
Right. Anyway.
Quick question, Seth. Is it easier to do Charlie's with the back paddles? Because I was talking to Ed about it. Ed said like half of it's easy for him because of back paddling for Charlie's.
I never learned it
reason,
with back pedal. I wouldn't know.
Alright, because at least for me using Pro Control, it's really hard for me to get the Charlie timing down.
I'm using the face buttons, so I wouldn't know.
Alright.
Alright, going into the fight, if you can do charge missiles, they will do so much more damage. If you can't, oh, fuck off. If you can't, then just missile it. I'll just do missiles, why not? Just, what the? It's fine. Remember, you can cheat some missiles at the end of this attack cycle, and just try to shoot as many as you can. Follow the beam
Oh my god.
before you can get to the next area. You want to follow the beam here.
Z57 practice prowess from Mercury Steam.
Now, this is the reason why missiling is not very good. If you keep missing shots, you'll get to that attack. But if you do charged missiles, you can kill phase 1 in 2 spits. If you're really, really good at them. So I'm gonna switch to doing charge missiles here, and we'll be able to see the difference in speed. It basically adds a charge shot to every single missile you'll fire in the fight. Okay, I got the same cycle. This is good though, because I got the same cycle before as well.
So I guess in order to do a Charlie, you can't fire a charge shot with R.
No, you can't.
Okay.
Because it's a quick charge, remember? See how fast that was compared to just missiling? So it's really, really important to learn charge missiles if you're going to optimize these boss fights. Especially this one. The other ones like yellow CU or green CU, it's not that big of a deal, but for this guy, it matters a lot. So definitely learn it. It also matters for this. 1 charge missile clears these guys, because we don't have star missiles. And here, you just play Flappy Bird. I like to, it always follows the same pattern, so I do a jump, spin boost jump, another jump, spin boost jump, another full jump into speed, 1 jump, store, wait, spark, every single time. Do it too quickly, obviously you'll whiff, and your run's dead. There are people who have sped all the way in, and then wind up sparked inside of where a Z57 would spawn, and then kill it frame 1. Noyazaki does this. I believe Chaff does this. I think he does.
Right.
But I do know that Noya does this. It is the fastest way to do it. I'm too scared of it, so I don't care.
Wait, are you talking about how you spin boost past the very final wave and then do a jump and then line up? That's what I do.
No, well, it's let me try to get a short boost here. If I can show it. Hey, why don't I just do this, honestly? So, this is what they actually do. Let me clear these guys. They'll do a wind-up spark right here, and then Z57 will spawn into them, and they'll kill it frame 1.
So they camp where Z57's head will show up.
Yes.
And then just that's really something.
It is so dumb looking, but it's so good. But it's so scary. So I just don't care. I'll spark it from all the way around here, and I know the timing, so I get it every time. All right. How to get out of Cataris. I like to, once I spawn in the middle of the arena, I like to walk off so I can do 2 flashes this way. If you flash once, you run
have to wait a bit.
Yeah, you have to wait. See? You can do a flash chain here if you're good enough, but I'm not, so I just don't care. And we just do normal movement all the way up. And here I like to start my speed.
Probably gonna be an issue.
And here is the easiest way to get this speed keep started. So you intentionally keep the charge shot there.
Oh god, what is this file from?
Right? And then you aim it downwards, because the first ply will get killed by it, and then you can flash past it for free.
Oh, okay, alright. Yes, I do a variation where I run all the way and store down here.
Yeah.
Is what you did faster than like storing here then flash.
Than this?
Yeah, that's why.
It's much faster.
Okay.
But this is also not the fastest way to do it.
Yeah, the fastest is spin jumping over the gap.
Right.
Which I am not good at.
Like this. This is the fastest way to do it. It's rather precise, but it's not that bad. I don't care.
Oh.
Keep.
So it's whatever.
I say that like
Yeah, that's what I've always done, really.
Yeah, it's good. And then here...
This is very tragic. Do you guys see what has happened to me in this practice file?
What happened?
Adam happened. This file is so old it doesn't have Adam skip in it. I'm going to just restart and make a new one. So, I will watch and try to remember.
No worries, it's going to be recorded. I'll upload it within 2 hours of this ending. Now we're going to screw attack, which is broken as fuck, but also causes a lot of grief, because the screw attack hitbox on the screw attack blocks is pretty inconsistent. Hopefully we don't have to deal with it. Flash once, grapple this, jump, slide morph into it, flash twice, jump morph into this tunnel. Now,
so
if
you don't slide morph into that one?
No, I just flashed twice and jump morph into it.
Okay.
You can flash once and then slide morph into it. It is easier to do, but it is very slightly slower.
Okay.
Grab the screw attack however you want. Ideally, you would be able to respin out of the tunnel and then land on top of it and shoot it downwards.
Never get that to work.
But it's hard.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I just did that. That's
Yeah,
a lot.
you would do.
Danny just shows us how to do it.
You would
Yeah, normally I just drop straight down, shoot, and then move right, but probably just spin down so you're on top of it.
The difficulty with this is not grabbing the ledge by accident. But if you can do this, it's faster for sure.
It is faster, yeah, I see that.
And then what I like to do is I grab this ledge, then get past this, morph down, flash, grab this, go up, delay the second flash to get through the door, and then you'll land on the pad.
Yep.
Every single time.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty good at this part.
Alright, so Berenia Tower Part 2. If you don't like having just close to 50 missiles for Ravenbeak, then you are definitely getting this missile 10. If you are a missile weaver, or if you don't care about having 48 and you're fine with finishing phase 2 of Ravenbeak with a couple beams, then you can skip this missile. Like this.
Wow.
And then you would do a flash to the wall, do a wall kick, and then jump morph in. This is annoying because unlike the unlike the gravity puzzle, there are a lot of inputs you need to sneak in here to stay straight so that you don't accidentally spin into this missile plus. And there are also inputs you need to do so that you don't accidentally spark through these blocks. And then you'd have to go back and do it all again. So be very careful. Right? I make it a point to break 3 of these blocks with the screw attack so I can have jump height for this. And I'll use free aim to land here. And then I'll do it again and I'll do a Y plus B spark upward. That's what I do to skip this missile plus. If you don't care about skipping the missile plus, you can do a spin boost from here. And then just grab it.
Wow.
And then store. 1, 2, up.
Yep.
And then here you do max height, IBJs, you can get up here in 2 reps if you do max height. If you're not too comfortable and you feel like you're not going to make it all the way up, then you can do a 3rd one, and that's fine too. All right, you can sit here and practice 2 reps of this. 2. And make it, see there I didn't make it up all the way, so I'd have to do a 3rd one.
Yeah, you can like tell if Samus is gonna
Yes.
miss it, so I just by timing.
All right, so boss theory on this bot fight. I like to hold a charge here, flash here, and now what you want to do is create an adequate amount of space between you and the bot behind the first one. If you get too close to the back bot, it will jump down.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So you really want to make sure you don't get too close to the second bot. You'll notice here I did slides to bonk the first bot. That way I can stay on the platform even if it knocks me off. I'll hold left the entire time. You can see it by rewinding in the VOD. Check the input display while I just mash my heart out, or if you have turbo, you can use turbo. That works too. But either way, rule number 1, stay away from this part of the fight. And rule number 2, don't go here, because that will mess up everything. As long as you follow these rules and you have an adequate mash, the fight will look exactly as it just did, regardless of what kind of attacks the first spot gives you. Doesn't matter. Now, what I will mention...
As long as you're consistently damage boosting the first spot, the back one, like, typically stays on the platform.
Not if you damage boost too close to the second bot. That's why I'm mentioning you want to not be here, ever. Or here, even. You want to be just far back enough. I would say, as a rule of thumb, behind this second red light, right here. That way, the bot will never jump down, ever. That's my rule of thumb. What I will mention is, if you have 2 tanks and your mash speed isn't good enough, then you might end up being very close to death after killing the first bot. If that happens to you, I would get a 3rd tank somewhere in the run. The best place to do it, if you like speed, is this energy tank over here. Yeah. After the the morph up. Yep. This is where you get your 3rd and final tank.
Yep.
All right, moving on. When this is opening, I like to shoot a charge through the door first when it opens, and then flash. That's the fastest way to go about it. And then you'd wait here, flash once, flash twice, morph, and then get on this. If you overshoot it, who cares? Just roll back onto it. And then you'll get to Gavarin 56. Yo, why do you always come back to Gav? So many teleporters in this route.
Favorite boss, come right up.
Favorite for who? For you?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's one of my least favorites. I think it's the worst boss to speedrun. I love its design, but I hate speedrun.
Makes sense.
I really do.
All right, there are 2 ways to get around the upcoming part. So this is the first way. This is what I do.
Yep.
Now the second way to get around it, which is a little more difficult to manage, is doing a coyote and then getting over here like this. But the issue with this is this guy.
It's because that's why I like to keep my distance.
Right. It is faster to go under the way that I did. In fact, let me see if I can game it a little bit. Hold on. No, you can't do that. Yeah. So if you do it the first way, right? There, the screw attack blocks stop my upwards momentum because screw attack blocks are really good, which is another reason why I don't do this. Because if you get screw blocked, you're literally screwed. So I don't like to do that. This is another reason why I just go straight down and under, and then I can speed from here. And then up spark as close as possible. Flash once, melee, go, and we're done. If you do go the underway, I believe I think Chaff does this. I don't know how he deals with this guy, but if there's a consistent way to deal with Bro and get a speed booster immediately, this would be considerably faster than going down and around, but I will always go down and around because it's just easy.
If you want to avoid the guy, you have to go like really far to the left.
Yeah.
So I stopped doing that.
Yeah, and like the way that you jump under and through this bridge, I mean, you literally can't make enough space. It's so
Also, I finally caught up.
so bad. So hello. Great. All right. So I'm not gonna go through how to actually like do this fight the way I do it. I have a video for this. It's also in my GDQ How to Train a Speedrunner video. If you go to the same timestamp, even if it's for any percent, it's the same fight. What I will say is there is another version to do this fight. The Discord colloquially calls it Crazy Eights. I regret coining that term.
I love it.
But it is basically the same fight. It's the same speed. I'll just do it the way I normally do it. No matter what, though, you want to speed into this. And then you'll do the fight as standard. Right? There is one point of contention with this fight. It is slightly RNG, but it is also slightly faster. Doing this. Now, if the guy turns around, you have to do it again. But if he doesn't turn around, it's faster. So you can weigh that option as you want.
Can you show it again?
Sure.
Would it be... So if you have to do the jump over a second time, would that be slower than just waiting for him to attack
Yes.
and doing the normal strat?
Probably.
Okay, so it's slower.
Probably, honestly. I haven't timed it, but probably. But for me, I do it in my runs anyway, because if it does work out, bless, I save time.
It doesn't seem like it loses that much.
So that's just Crazy 8 without the actual Crazy 8 part. It's the same concept,
Yep.
but there's no like timing of
Oops.
Oh, skill issue.
Yeah, cool. All right. So, however you decide to get through this fight is up to you. There are a bunch of strats for it, and by all means, do what you want. The only point of contention is obviously once you store here, do you wait and then spark it, or do you jump over and try to spark its back? You have a 2 out of 3 chance of getting it to not turn around. If it does turn around, then the next time you flash over it, it will not turn around again, which is really nice. All right. Many people in this room have had grief with cross bombs. I will teach you the easiest way to not get griefed by cross bombs as soon as you enter the room. Jump into this with morph and then just lay 4 bombs.
Wait, really?
Yep. And then you will instantly have cross bombs ready in the next room. Because that makes a lot of
Really?
sense.
Have we tested it doing everything like the same but not actually
See?
laying 4 bombs, just being in morph long enough to lay 4 bombs? Actually laying the bombs that matter.
I'm not sure, but the time it takes to lay 4 bombs is consistent with waiting for this door to unlock anyway. So just lay 4 bombs. It's free.
So you morph where? You just morph in front of the door?
No, I morph into the Corex.
Oh, okay.
And then I pick it up and I lay 4 bombs. You can lay all 4 bombs before the cross bomb thing even shows up, and you'll have cross bombs in the next room.
Oh, that's interesting. All right, so you set that up before you get to the tunnel.
Yes.
All right. Interesting.
And then here,
Holy fuck, no,
the best flash movement is get out of the tunnel 1, 2, 3, lands
3, then
1, 2.
1, 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the best movement you can do here. Oh yeah, and for those watching on YouTube, for whatever reason, there is going to be a link in the description for the Equals fight the way I do it. Right. Hanubia. Very simple area with 1 time save segment, aside from the greatest time save of all time. It's a little tricky, but it's good.
Unrelated, but when you upload the video, you're gonna put timestamps for each section. So
I've never actually gotten it to work on the timeline for some reason, but it will be in the description, yes. Alright. So here, I like to...
Write them in the description in the right format, it just automatically does it.
Yeah, I do that, it doesn't do it. I copied R-Candy, like, specifically, and it doesn't work, but whatever.
Dude.
Speed, instant spark, with the door open, and then go through, much like with Elon. My visual cue for the R-shot on this door is when I pass this.
Oh, the center part. Okay. I'm inconsistent because I just didn't know what's a good cue to like shoot this shot. So, right, center, got it. Alright. Try that again.
Alright, and then here, I like to jump into the door frame, then do 2 flashes, and then if you do it correctly, when you respin off of the second flash, you'll fall into this guy and screw attack him. If you do it quickly enough, you can land and do a 3rd flash chain if you want. It is tough though, but it would look something like this. Obviously, you would stop at the enemy, which is why a 3rd flash is good, but that's just how it works. Here, Slide in, lay a cross bomb, come out, slide again, and then shoot an ice missile. That way, this guy does not bother you ever. And then, what is it? Once you get through this, flash left once after a manual morph.
Oh, okay.
And then, or a manual unmorph, and then just, you know, come down here. I like to morph down here. I'm not sure if it actually does anything, but that's what I do. And here I slide morph in. Now, we have a specific set of manipulations to do in this room that prevents the worm from blocking the door. But what it ends up being is this jump right there. If you do that hop, this guy will never be on the door. But it can't be a top jump. It has to be slightly higher, but also not a full jump. It's like a medium jump.
Alright, so as soon as you destroy the screw block, you flash shift, kill the robot, and then do a big jump.
Like a medium jump, yeah.
Medium jump, okay.
So I'm gonna try to respawn the enemies here, so I can do it again. Medium jump, one pull, slide flash flash, and if you do it right, which I clearly didn't, you'll be away from the door and not be on the door.
Okay, so I had no idea how to deal with this.
Stay there long enough to pull the flash or the grapple block.
Yeah, so I was wondering what was the best thing to do with a ground rope. Do you just destroy the robot or just jump over? But I keep forgetting that you just flash slide.
Yeah. You do the slide flashes through the first robot, and then you can just make your way through. The slide flashes are only good if the worm is not on the door. Otherwise, you'll get a ping pong effect on the door like I did right there. But again, if you rewind to the first time I went through that room, I did it perfectly. So you can study that part. Ferenia.
Oh, cool.
Part 2. So I slide through these blocks, flash over this guy, and then I jump in this room and flash twice, and then go through these rooms like this. That's what I do. I also morph here. I forgot about that. Here, though, I take a page out of any percent, and I do a speed booster, and then cut it close here, ride down that ceiling slope, melee off to skip this ledge, and I continue. I'm not sure if that speed is faster.
Right, is that faster than full flash?
I am not sure, but I do it out of comfort. You don't have to.
That's what I do.
You can do this if you'd like.
Yeah, I do the triple flash. I bypass the ledge entirely.
Right. But another thing about the speed anyway, at least for me, is that with the rhythm that comes from it, I can skip every single ledge that exists in this room for free. Because it gives me the height I'm looking for. Right. And you'll notice on the input display, when I'm passing by the ledges again, I'm not holding any direction, especially not the direction of the ledge, because then I'll grab the ledge by accident. Right, there I messed up my first flash, it doesn't matter.
1, 2, yep.
Right, and then we'll go through. Now when you land here, you're gonna do a delayed flash again to get through, and do the exact same thing as the other room. Now I would definitely take this piece by piece. In the VOD, you can see what I'm doing to get past each ledge. But in slow motion, really, if you don't wait long enough, that's what happens, by the way. That's why you want to wait between the flashes. All right.
Wait, I'm sorry, what happens?
You can bonk the door like this.
Ah, right.
That's what you don't want to do. So
why-
delay it,
That's what it's delayed.
right? Pivot, melee, pivot, melee, and then you're through.
Yep.
And then here, do a speed keep, like this. Again, you can study the VOD for this. The inputs are pretty lenient.
Alright, another question set. So I do that setup with a bad spawn. There have been times where I jump over pool and it doesn't see me, which means it's a problem if it sees me in the next room. Is there a reason why that happens?
I've never had that happen to me, so I wouldn't know.
Let me see if I can replicate here.
I think I had that happen in a run yesterday, actually.
If it does happen though, I think you can continue the full speed keep through instead of cutting it short with the flashes here. And I'm pretty sure it can't see you because you're too fast. If it does, if the vision of the Emmy does end up looking like it's going to see you, please cloak.
Yeah.
Because waiting here is a lot longer than cloaking through.
Oh my god,
So,
it's actually not giving me the
please
best
cloak.
spawn.
Alright, I'll wait for you guys to catch up before I move on.
Alright, whatever. I went through this enemy zone like 5 times and didn't give me the bad spawn. The only time that I wanted to show up, oh well. Whatever. I'm here.
Alright, great. So, moving on from here. It's very simple movement. I do a jump morph here. I like to freeze this guy, just in case. And if and only if, you hug the left side, you can actually skip the flame pillar if it spawns by boosting into it.
Yeah, or sometimes I get a nice deep that just shoves me into the
Right.
zone.
So you want to be under and as close to the left to the ledge as possible, and this will never happen. Now, if this happens, do not keep trying to screw attack back into it. It reactivates your hitbox. So what you'd want to do is neutral jump through it instead.
Oh, I didn't know that.
All right, and then here we just have your standard movement, another delayed flash to wait for the door to open. Here, I like to go top route because the movement is just super clean this way, but that's up to you. And then here, flash through twice, shoot this, flash once. So now this movement's interesting. So what I like to do is I grab this ledge on purpose and then buffer a quick hop into it so that when I land, I'm in screw attack state and I can kill this enemy for free and then I can flash twice.
Oh.
So another way you can do it is by landing on this and then doing a slide flash. You can do that too.
Alright.
But
Usually
I like
land
doing
on
this.
the ledge and then I just land on the ledge and screw that thing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
If you time it correctly as well, and you delay your respin and delay your morph a little bit, instead of getting this effect, you can fall into the tunnel like this and save a bit of time. And then from here, the best movement in, ideally you'd shoot these blocks out so you can do a slide pivot respin and it'll get you through this block as well.
Oh.
Otherwise, this happens. So this is another place to practice slide pivot respins. Ideally, you would have screw attack so that you can actually break the blocks and know you did it right. You could watch the input display for the quickness at which I press the inputs. Alright, so shoot these out. Like so. And then once this happens, once you shoot these blocks out, I would hold the charge. That way you can charge shot these and just keep moving.
Oh, that's smart. Alright.
So let's do it from the other room.
Why can I not get this angle right?
Oh, that's a lot easier than trying to plasma spam all of these blocks.
Yep. If the slide pivot is not to your liking, that's okay. Just go through like how we usually do, and it works just fine. But the slide pivot does save a marginal amount of time. Make sure you're landed as well so it doesn't happen. Okay. SQ. How am I gonna do this? So it's going to be difficult for me to explain how one cycling works. I may skip it and return to it in a future video unless there is already a tutorial somewhere on YouTube, in which case I'll link it in post in the description. But I will show you how to start the fight consistently every single time without fail. Back up a little bit, get your speed booster. Now, there is a pillar in the background. It's this one. This pillar right here. You want to line up with that pillar and then wait for a certain visual cue.
Okay.
All right? So, A, recognize where that pillar is. Or that spear, not pillar, rather. Stay morphed on it. And now, when SQ passes by for the second time, I was late there, so it looked a lot scarier than it actually is. When SQ passes by for the second time, then you lay a cross bomb. One, two. And then here, I unmorph and wind up a spark. SQ will spawn into me frame 1. Now, you'll also notice that I tried to make it so that I was vertically at SQ as left as possible. And now the reason why that's important is because depending on how far left you are compared to SQ without actually going to SQ's left, it greatly influences the amount of leniency you have on the pogos that you end up doing. So here, I'll be a little too far right, and I'll spark low. So now you'll notice I'll just never get to SQ's up left, ever. because I'm too low and B, I'm too far right. You can fix that by staying as left to SQ as you possibly can without crossing it horizontally. Like so. And you'll always get this. And then you can try whatever kill. In this case, I think I did not get one cycle.
Can you show it one more time?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I won't stick to it for too long. Once again, it will be in VOD form.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then you can do whatever kill you think is best. I keep trying one cycle. I haven't landed it in like 3 weeks because I suck. So instead, I'll show the fast 2 cycle with spin boost.
Do you have to like Charlie cross bomb screw attack it to do 1
Yes.
cycle? Oh my god.
It's a fighting game combo. Here, I'll try it again for fun. Okay, I messed it up because of the cross bomb placement. Haha, fun. Saves 2 seconds. All right. So if you don't care about those 2 seconds, which most people shouldn't, including myself, honestly, then you can do a different way to get fast 2 cycle. That was easy. And then he's dead. So the idea is that on the 6th pogo, you flash left, wall kick, and then do a full jump. That full jump gives you just enough height and time to stay over it. Once you bonk it the first time, mash the shit out of your B button to respin again, and then you will have 2 hits. Much like with space jump, which is a lot easier. Now, if you try to like land and then do some funny business with spin boost, you're gonna run into some problems. But if you do it with this, it's free every time and completely normalized. So do it like this. It's so free. Again, you can reference the VOD for it.
Right, a full jump, not a tap one.
Yeah, if you do this, you're not even gonna make it to SQ. So you have to hold it.
Yeah.
All right, great. Moving on. Once you leave SQ's arena, I like to hold a charge because screw attack sucks. Try to slide morph into this if possible. And then you can do a flash, screw respin to kill the enemy and flash again. You can also do a flash into a slide flash. That's a flash chain. Which I believe Noyazaki does. I'm pretty sure it's slightly faster, but I suck at it, so I don't care.
Fuck.
Let me see if the enemy will respawn here for me to try it. Nope. And then here, I hold R, because we're gonna need it.
Oh.
If you don't have space jump, don't try any funny speed keep. It's not faster. Hold R from right here through the room.
Yep.
And then here, you take a small dip to the right before speeding back to the left. Otherwise, your speed booster will stop on that stair. And then here, that right robot will always drop, but ideally, you want your match speed such that before the second attack from the gold robot comes out, it'll be dead. That's how you know your match speed's good enough.
Thankfully it is,
Yep. Now we're going up. Cross bomb. 1, 2, 3. That third flash is kind of important. Hold the charge. Cross. Slide in. I messed up, but ideally you'd cross again. Here you'd want to lay the second cross bomb so that you're to its left or to its right, so you can bounce out. And then you would hold R. Get these guys out. Yep. Whoops. Don't do that. Now here, to enter this room through the cross... notice, again, I got fucked by screw blocks again, because this game's really good. Here, I like to do 2 flashes, and then pivot, respin to the left. That clears this ledge. And I do 1 air flash here into a spin boost. Who cares if he sees me? He's going to be dead soon anyway. And then you want to try to get these shots out as early as possible, and then you can just keep going. Now here, the movement up this way. Spin boost up to the left like this. Wall kick. 1, 2.
Oh, okay.
That's all it is. And then you speed into this arena. Kill him. Do 99,000 damage. Alright. And now, to get out of this room, take a micro step forward and then open the door. The reason why we do this is because now it'll only cost 1 flash to leave the room. And then here, you'll do whatever kill you want to do, because this VOD is centered towards high level, you know, anything, and not losing time in spades, which I consider like the normal kill to be a little too slow for my liking. You can sit here and practice this fight for as long as you need to get it consistent. You want to make sure you can accurately track the head. Now, the hitbox of the head is also slightly above the head on its neck. So you don't have to worry about being so close to the actual faceplate. You can be close enough, slightly above, and your shots will land all the time. If your controller's left stick is not good enough to be smooth, please buy a new controller. But if you can't, then you can stick to the other known strats. If you can't make it work, I'll show it. If I could even remember how to do it. I've been doing the plant kill for so long.
Shout out to the Fun Labs Firefly for having sticks that can actually do this.
I messed up that bomb placement. This is what I mean. I just don't know how to do these kinds of kills anymore. This is the safest way to do this kill quickly. And by safe, I mean without massive margin for error.
How much faster is quickest kill over the kill you're doing right
At
now?
least like 6 seconds.
Okay.
It's huge. It's really big. I genuinely don't like this that kill. The worst thing you can do here actually is deep blue. So don't do that. Deep blue is so it's slower than the other one. And it's not even like just as safe or anything. It's just why. So don't do deep blue. Just do this kill if you can do it. You can sit here, reset at the checkpoint, and practice. I just missed a couple shots. I'm gonna stick it anyway to see if it worked. It did work. And now once this is done, the hardest part of the end of the fight, or the end of the damage plate, is to remember that you have to keep moving your stick down. Because as it gets closer to you and the faceplate disappears, you can actually still miss if you don't adjust and aim as low as you can. So remember to keep aiming lower and lower and lower and lower until the Emmy's faceplate is actually broken. Don't forget. Some people, they say, oh, I didn't miss any shots, but I look at their model and I see they're not aiming as low as they could be at the very end. They're probably missing some shots down here. So remember to keep tracking. Alright, now what do you do? What the fuck? What do you do if the kill doesn't end up working out and you miss too many shots? Here, I'll just miss something fun. What do you do if this happens? So here, I'm gonna wait for a certain step. Step 1, step 2, step 3, neutral jump over, respin, and then finish the kill like this. And here you can actually do a plant kill. That is how you recover from missing too many. This is still faster than the other way to do this kill. So I would genuinely just learn how to do this. And then you can figure out if you've missed too many or not. And if you did, jump, excuse me, jump over. If you didn't, then slide under and finish the kill. You can see that from any top level VOD. Was it me, B-Dog, Arcandy, Noy? We all do it this way. And so does most of the top 10, if I understand. So moving on from here.
I have it.
When you get here, flash once, do a coyote, and then spin boost in to the tunnel. Originally, I thought there wasn't enough distance for that flash shift, but there is. Thanks, Chaff. Now, you want to delay the coyote so that you don't get what I'm getting right now, because that sucks.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then you can cleanly morph up here.
Yep, that's what I do.
Yep.
I've never done the top tunnel to get over there because I don't do quickest kill yet.
Yeah. So here I like to flash once and then mash speed booster. And because I know my speed booster timing, generally speaking, I'll always make it up and continue with speed keep. This speed keep is faster with spin boost, because space jump is just better and you can climb all of this vertically really quickly. But with spin boost, it's a little more dubious. So it is slightly faster to do this. But if you can't do it, it's fine. because it's not that much faster. So don't worry about it. You can do flashes to get around that that flash tunnel, or that this tunnel. You can do flashes here, which is fine. So you can do something like delay the flashes here to make it here as in one chain. You can do this as well, and it works out just fine. So here, what I like to do is ideally I'd have this killed as I'm going up by combining my movements with my shots. And then here I like to do one flash and then a second flash to get to the wall, and then a wall kick into a third flash. If you do it to the point where the third flash will ride the ground off of the wall kick, you will always land on the pad perfectly.
Oh, wow.
Always. Even if you have to turn around at the end because you overshot it, quote unquote, her back foot will still be pushing down the pad. So that's the fastest way to get around this part. And now we're getting to the end of the game where I get to teach RB theory, even though I know fucking nothing about it. Great.
Make Fallen proud. Alright.
So here, you're going to want a speed boost to get rid of this robot. And then here you can do 1, 2, and then do a high spin boost to get to that ledge. I suck at this. I don't know why. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't, but you can do this. The goal is to get your flashes as high up on the ceiling as possible so that you can make it up there with one spin boost. Hold the B button down as long as you can. Right? Now, sometimes I get a wall jump because that happens. The spin boost is really bad. Right? But if you don't get the wall jump, you can make it up for free. Now, if you don't make it up like this, right, you can recover it as long as the screw block is dead by just doing 2 spin boosts like this. I used to do this, right? Like, I thought this was the fastest way. I was wrong, but that works. And, what is it? If you do end up doing the bomb method, right? The cross bomb method, and you don't make it up somehow, you can recover by quickly grabbing this and move on. That's fine. And then you can move on like this.
So I was trying to do that mid-air screw setup, but I keep bonking the little corner here when I'm trying to do the spin boost up here. I don't know why.
Probably me. Wait, let me just open that screen share then. I haven't had your screen share open this entire time.
All right, let me try again.
Yeah, so that's because you're getting a wall jump. This is why I don't like this strat as much as I should. I think if you press B fast enough to get that spin boost, you will avoid a wall kick.
Alright.
But I'm not too sure. Either way though, it's worth practicing because it is the fastest way through. If you don't get it though, you can just land and do 2 full spin boosts to get up, and it'll work. Alright.
Usually if you get a wall kick, it means that you did it too soon.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the timing works, I'll be honest. All I know is that if you wait too long, you'll dip too low and you'll never make it up there. Alright, so moving on from here. I like to just mash my beam button and get through. Whatever works. Hold your storm missiles here.
Yep.
And now here, you can get 1 or 2 or 3 locks. I don't care, I just do 2. Mash a little bit. Then you get 3 here. And then mash a little bit, and then it works. And then get 3 here. Make sure to wait, and then mash the rest of the fight. Easiest warrior in the game. And this particular kill works in every category except for any percent unrestricted. I wonder why.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, think about it. Yeah, you have exactly 15 missiles to 0%, so it works.
No. Works for me. Alright. Getting to the end of the game now. Quick tip. If you're very good at the end of the game, as soon as you split on wave beam, it will take approximately 8 minutes to beat the game. 7 to 8 minutes, depending on RNG. And,
yeah, I think for me, it's like it's 9 minutes on after wave and 7 minutes on after power bomb.
Right.
Usually.
So, here, that valve will take some time to open. So what I like to do is like to hang for a bit and then flash to the ledge. If you do it too quickly, you'll just fall. because the valve won't be open yet. So I wait for a little bit and then I flash.
Oh, that's cool.
Here I'm holding R already. Flash once. Cancel the ending lag of that flash with a slide morph. Lay the power bomb before you go through. And here I do a spin boost into a morph. That way I can lay this power bomb again.
Oh, that's
Oh.
All right.
You ever stored a lead morph there?
No.
Oh.
So you want to make sure it's like past this third light. Otherwise you might not break the tube coming up. I ran out of power bombs, so I gotta go back and get it.
Yeah, I think
Thanks,
the
Ken.
reason I just do a slide morph there because I lay the power bomb much closer to the door, so as soon as I lay the power bomb, I can rush through
Right.
the power bomb for the robots get hit by the power bomb.
But it comes with another benefit where if you lay it just right enough, like here, the robots here will not be affected by power bombs, so you can shoot them.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay, that's
But
very
if you're
helpful.
too far right, this won't blow up. So be careful. So ideally, it's like here,
Again.
and then you can shoot the robots here. Obviously, you want to shoot them because we want power bombs coming up. So
Right.
whatever maximizes your chance of getting power bombs. Plus, doing the jump morph here into power bombs and rolling, it is faster than sliding and rolling because you get to charge power bombs as early as here. Makes sense, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I didn't destroy the left robots that way.
Mhm.
That's really good. Holy shit.
So moving on from here, the fastest way with spin boost is when you're in the tunnel, you unmorph automatically and hold right. So what I like to do is I like to manually climb into this because then it'll auto unmorph you when you leave. Oh, well, it should. Interesting video game. There you go. And then you can just hold right and you grab this ledge immediately. If you jump morph into this, which is faster, you have to unmorph manually to grab this.
Right.
And I don't like doing that, so I just do it, right? And then
Right.
here you jump off flash and then spin boost to get up. This is much faster than doing this. Don't do this.
Heck.
Yep. And then you can charge your power bomb immediately, put it through. Obviously, if you have one power bomb here, if you're on normal or something, don't lay that power bomb. You'll run out. And then you can do this speed keep. So let me go back and run through that. It is, oh, well, this is awkward.
Yeah, for me, I have a really tough time with doing a spin boost right after the flash shift, which is why I usually go for the crosswalk strat.
Yeah, but if you manually climb into the tunnel, you'll auto unmorph, and it makes it much easier.
Oh my god, what the hell?
I personally despise the existence of single wall jumping in this game.
All right, let's just go back here. So like this would be the fastest way, but you have to manually unmorph, and that's what makes it bad. So just climb into it with B, and you'll auto unmorph here, unless you pivot too quickly. So there is a timing to this. Keep holding left until Samus unmorphs. If you do it, if you pivot too early, then you'll stay in morph, and you'll have to unmorph yourself manually. What I like to do is I like to just input left trigger just in case, so it covers both. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whether I pivot too early and I don't get an unmorph, or the game auto unmorphs me, no matter what, I will always be unmorphed leaving this tunnel, so you might as well just stick a left trigger input in there. And then you can move on. Alright.
Wait, so quick question, so how much time do you leave after the flash shift to try to spin boost? 'Cause whenever I flash shift spin boost, I miss the timing. Like here, yeah. Like,
I mean, you can
How much
you can
space-
see the timing.
alright. I think I see it, yeah.
So ideally, well, not ideally, just in general, you want to pivot right and then spin boost so that you can clear that corner.
Uh-huh.
Alright, lay a power bomb, right? Move on. So now for this speed keep, it's not as difficult as it looks. Shoot this door, jump. Shoot that door, jump, and you're done. That's it. It's not as complicated as it looks like. Don't try to overcomplicate it. It is as simple as shoot the door here and then jump. You can tap jump. And then I like to hold the charge here and release the charge during the transition towards the next door. It's the same angle, by the way.
Yeah.
So then I just do another tap jump. And then it works out just fine. And here I do a flash chain for a 1-2 to get over this robot. Now for this fight, don't try to do anything funny. You can do enough DPS to skip the third attack, but I don't care. So I just deal with the third attack. Either way, it'll work out. And then it's the same from here as the Artaria Warrior. On a rookie with 2 tanks, you can take 1 of any attack. So if you have 3 tanks, then you're even less worried. If you have 4 tanks, I think it still 2-shots you, so be careful.
That guy does percentage damage, so I think 2 is the maximum you'll ever be able to tank.
All right. Now we're getting into Ravenbeak, my least favorite part of the run, because of the fact that I don't actually know how to move quickly through Idarash. I just kind of run through it.
I hate these back battles sometimes.
All right. So ideally, with spin boost, the fastest way through this room is to do a speed booster and do a speed keep. I'm gonna try it a couple times. It's good practice for me as well. You want to back up a bit so you have the space. Whoop. Right.
What the hell?
Like this.
Oh, okay.
And then you can run in and do what's coming. Now, because I suck, I don't end up doing this usually. I just do the normal stuff like this.
What did I do? When I press my right back pedal, I start moving left.
But once you get to here, however you would like, shoot the door open and then lay a power bomb. I like to jump in the tunnel, or I like to jump in the door frame so it goes as high up as possible. It maximizes the chances of breaking as many of these blocks as you can. And then it makes it easier because there's a wider opening to spark up. You can also do it immediately after landing the after laying the power bomb. The power bomb will time itself such that as you're running through and speed boosting, this will break. Unless you start speeding late, I think, but don't do that. All right, so now we're at Ravenbeak. I'm going to fight the boss with... We'll do 2 lock storms and missiles only. Sounds fine to me, because not everyone can missile weave. So there are a couple strats to this fight that's really important to know, specifically for phase 2, and 1 conditional on phase 3. But on the phase 1, you want to get as close to RB as possible, and then just shoot as many missiles as you can. If you get the melee attack, lay a crossbomb. If you don't, still lay a crossbomb. Because crossbombs in phase 1, each one does the same damage as an ice missile, and they multi-hit. So that makes sense. So here, I'm getting the red wave attack. I'm crouched. I'm holding storms. Melee. Wait for... Whoop. That's not what I'm supposed to do. You're supposed to melee it. Great. I got gut punched instead. We'll try that again. It's fine. But the timing here is what's most difficult. And you also want to not accidentally press something random after the parry. Otherwise, you will... Am I bad? Otherwise, you'll lose your thing. You'll lose the ability to continue doing DPS. So wait for 2 locks. 1, 2. Release, and then mash. You need to mash 10 shots per second for this. Now, if you can't do that...
I cannot do that. I tried the 2 lock yet again. Does not work for me. I'm just too slow.
If you can't do that, there's 9+1, which is pretty easy, and it's not that big of a deal. But it can lose. It can lose between 15 and 20 seconds for free.
Yeah, it is a little bit more on you relying on when Wave doesn't close parry. That's an unfortunate outcome.
Wait, I'm not doing this. Wait, actually, that's fine. So mash as much as you can here. I messed it up already. This is not 9+1. Okay, anyway, 9+1. Shoot 9 missiles, wait, get a parry, then do the damage, and then shoot the 10th one, and then do the parry, and you're fine. I just forgot how to do it. Yay, I did 9+1, totally. I did it. Alright, so here, find what attack you get first. If he comes to the left wall, then follow it to the left wall and stay here. This removes any chance of Ravenbeak doing the ground stomp attack. If you get this, tank it on purpose. That way you can stay on the left wall and keep shooting ice missiles at it. Notice how it's never doing a ground stomp. That is the optimal theory.
Right, if I do the ceiling, yeah, like, so you just shoot here, so you just let so it just goes away.
Alright, and here I got an early parry, so I'm just gonna do it. If you get the parry within 2 attacks, just take it. Otherwise, we'll do the method known as Void Cross Bombs, where we rotate 2 ice missiles and cross bombs. And here, I don't care about the sun being here. If the sun comes early in the fight, you will you'll just basically powerbomb it to get rid of it. But because the fight, I already got a parry, which does a ton of damage if you spam ice missiles in the parry, I don't care about breaking the sun. I'm just gonna keep killing it until it dies. So that's something you have to keep in mind. Remember, it does take time to powerbomb the sun. If you're already about to kill the boss, then just ignore the sun. It's fine. Alright, and for the final part of the game, you can do this with your eyes closed. Just wait for 6 stomping sounds. 5, 6, hold Y, go check Twitter. If you get a low battery warning on your controller here, your run's dead. Good luck. It's happened to me.
Oh my god.
And I've let go of Y because of it. So yeah, don't do that. Charge your controllers. Alright, so for the escape, here's my visual cue. It's right here. See that rubble in the background? I'm lined up with it to the right of the fire. Up spark here. Alright, moving on. All the movement here is very standard and normal. You can do a speed booster here. Now here, you want to do the cross bomb. Up sparking here is slower.
Oh, really?
Yes, because the spark bonk time is longer compared to just cross bombing. And then here, the good movement is not what I just did. Right? You'd want to do it like this. Pivot, respin, melee. And then here, before you transition through this room, do another melee. Because otherwise, you'll get stuck on this one. So you'll see here. Right? You notice how I skipped that step? And then moving on, keep doing these pivot respins. And here, there is a trick called Arc Spark. It's terrible with spin boost, so who cares? If you get stuck down here, it's a bit bedge, but you can clear them out by using the hyper cannon. And then you can wait, and it'll bring them back. You can also do single wall jumps here if you get stuck. Like so. Melee as late as you can across that combo bridge. Alright, now for the spin boost speed keeps.
Oh, I see this one.
So you really, like, it's really hard to do with spin boost because it's finicky, but you want to try to keep your speed booster all the way up, if possible. Because notice how it's hard to get the height that you need. It is possible, but it's hard. Yeah, that you can land up here. If this doesn't happen,
like,
it's fine.
On the lower platform, so that way you do a jump, wall jump, spin boost to your top ledge.
You can do it like this as well. It doesn't really matter what you do, as long as you get this. So do what you can to get that ending spark. And that's basically it. If you want to see the fastest way to do this speed keep, Go watch Noyazaki. Is 114.50 on this category. Has the perfect ending spark that saves the most time. It is disgusting in how precise it is. But otherwise, yeah, that's the game. Yay! Once again, this VOD will be uploaded to YouTube, and it will be posted in the All Bosses channel of this Discord. If you want to watch over it, then go ahead and take a look at all the segments past Quiet Robe and onwards. I believe Ed did not record start of the game to Quiet Robe. I might make another one just for that and call it an early game guide or something. Well, otherwise, that's it. This session took 3 hours or so, but it's chock full of information, so do with it as you will.
Thanks for doing it, Sad.
Yep. The recording is turning off. Bye.